Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports jury selection began on Monday in the trial of a man accused of killing a woman by driving his car into a crowd of counter-protesters after a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia last year. James Fields Jr. faces 10 criminal counts in Virginia, including first-degree murder and malicious assault. He has pled not guilty to the charges, which could send him to prison for the rest of his life. Fields was among hundreds of white nationalists who converged on the town, home of the University of Virginia, to protest plans to remove a statue of a Confederate war hero from a local park. One of his attorneys, John Hill, told prospective jurors that the defense would present testimony showing the defendant thought he was acting in self-defense. Hill also told them to expect medical and mental health testimony. Federal prosecutors have said that Fields routinely promoted racial ideologies on his social media accounts and expressed support for Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust. On Monday, Fields appeared calm after entering a heavily guarded Charlottesville circuit courtroom. As jury selection began, he frequently turned towards the audience in the courtroom. Circuit Court Judge Richard E. Moore told a large group of prospective jurors that the trial could last up to 3 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Robins inculcate their young with these twisted maws. We see an adult robin feeding its young with the ripped-apart viscerae of an innocent worm. Like the Greek hero Atreus eating the flesh of his children at his own table, this black deed must surely curse the entire species. Even the most depraved acts of humanity pale in comparison to the robin's wickedness. Like idiot rapists, they commit their foul deeds with neither foresight nor hindsight. They live entirely in the present. Living beyond space and time, their god is the awful seething maelstrom of chaos at the center of the unfeeling universe.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, it's time, guys. Free Talk Live. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever it is you want to discuss. And that toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms that are open and available to you. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You can jump into any one of those and then join us here. And we'll talk to you on the radio about whatever you want to discuss, although we always bring things in worthy of discussion as well. And coming up here tonight, we're going to talk about rent. Apparently rents are going up, and Vincent, you've got the story. By the way, in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Jay, and Vincent.
Jay Noon joining us. Hey, Jay.
Hey.
Good to have you back on here on Free Talk Live. You were swinging into Keene tonight and said, hey, is there an open seat? Just so happens that Mark is out of town this beginning of this week, so here you are.
Worked out good.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. In fact, you have a thing or two to say about rent, given that you are a new landlord, so we're going to get into all that on the way here. Plus, I think the three of us are all big fans of cryptocurrency, and it has been an interesting couple of weeks in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, with the price basically being a little bit more than 50% of what it was 2 weeks ago. It's been a huge price drop.
Yeah, I'm glad I spent some a couple months ago.
Right? And it may be a good time to buy some more, although some are saying they think the price is going to fall even further. Now, of course, who knows what the future holds. I know Aria DeMezzo on Call to Freedom, which is the afternoon drive show on LRN.FM, the one that comes on before Free Talk Live on the internet, that she thinks it's going down to 500.
Yeah, I've been hearing her say that. And it's been challenging in my personal experience to buy cryptocurrency the past few months.
Really?
Well, to buy it for spot.
Oh,
it's been challenging.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really.
I was going to say you can go to a vending machine and pay 8% over and get it all day long.
I was actually looking at a vending machine 5 days ago, I think, and the price was like 42 or 43 was the spot
at the machine.
price.
Or the spot price?
It was
Okay.
$5,500 at the machine. And then there was another machine that I looked at, and it was actually just a little bit more. I just kind of walked by them, and both machines are in Manchester because I have a reoccurring. I have a bill I pay every month with Bitcoin, so I make it a point to buy that amount of Bitcoin plus some from somebody, or if I get paid in it. And that's another thing I've noticed is like last year, 80% of the work I did basically from like October right through till June, literally right up until my wedding, about 80% of my earnings was all in cryptocurrency. All the services I do for folks here, like welding, landscaping, plowing, and just, I teach a couple classes on blacksmithing and stuff. And like nobody wants to pay me Bitcoin. Actually, today one guy paid me Bitcoin for plowing his driveway this morning.
You mean people who have Bitcoin who could pay Bitcoin don't want to pay with Bitcoin?
No, none of them want to pay. The first Bitcoin I got for a service, the first crypto I got for a service was in like 3 months was today.
Okay, wait. So what you're saying is your normal customers who normally wouldn't pay with Bitcoin don't pay with Bitcoin. I'm just trying to clarify what you're saying.
Let me clarify. So a year ago, everybody was paying me in cryptocurrency.
That was my question. Yeah. You're saying people who have paid you in crypto in the past.
Nobody wants to.
People who had paid you in the past, who've been capable of paying you, who in theory could still pay you today in crypto, are saying no, they want to pay with cash.
Right, they want to pay with cash, or they want to pay me with like PayPal. Because like a lot of the driveways I plow and like lawn mowing that I do for people, I just send them an email invoice with a cryptocurrency, pay, address, receive address, and they're like, oh, can I give you cash somewhere, or can I send you a PayPal or whatever thing? And my response.
Have you asked them why? Have you said?
Yes. I'm friends with all of them, and they're like, oh, it's going to cost me like 10 or 15% to buy it at a machine.
Really?
I don't want to spend it, and I'm like, come on, dude. And like one guy I do a lot of work for, like $2,000-$3,000 a month. He's got a business in Manchester, and he hasn't paid me any crypto since June, and he's all been cash. And he claims someone's paying him, which is probably true. But I'm like, come on, we got to exercise it to keep it moving. I mean, if everybody just holds it, it's not going to do much, and we just need to, so. It's hard for me because anytime I can buy something in crypto, I do. I recently went on a trip to the Caribbean.
I will pay extra if it means I have to pay.
Yeah, me too. And so the guy today is like, oh, it was like $50, I think. And he's like, oh, this was like $150, just a few months ago. And I said, yeah, I know. I go, listen, I'm not forcing anybody to pay me in crypto. And he's like, no, I want it to be good. I want it to work. And he's like, I don't want to support the war dollar. And so he's good. He just he paid me in it, and I just thought that was pretty awesome because it's just I went on on my honeymoon to a bunch of Caribbean islands. We did a cruise, and everyone that would listen to me, I talked to them about Bitcoin. I talked to them about cryptocurrency. I gave them my business card. I said, hey, I'm tipping you in cryptocurrency. All you got to do is email me. Here's my email. Send me your Bitcoin receive address.
I gave out a crypto tip today at a taco stand out in Brattleboro.
And I've been home for a week. One guy emailed me. So I said, so I sent him a tip.
Out of how many? So one guy out of 2 dozen, 3 dozen?
Oh, I passed out 100 business cards.
Okay.
But like
that's a 1%.
But one guy out of maybe 15 people that I would tip, because we went on these excursions. Like this particular excursion was in St. Kitts, and it was a rainforest thing where they pick you up in like a Jeep. Then you go ride around in the Jeep up in the rainforest of St. Kitts. And I asked a guy if he knew who Roger Ver was.
Right, because he lives there.
Right, and
part of the year.
and Joby Weeks, and he knew
these
both
are big
of those
Bitcoiners.
names.
Yeah, big name Bitcoiners.
And well, St. Kitts is a small island.
Right.
Everybody knows everybody. And
right. What is it, like 20,000 people or something like that across both St. Kitts and Nevis?
I don't remember.
It's not a lot. There's not a lot of people. Maybe 30,000 or something like that. It's not a lot of people.
But it's I mean, I guess I'll plug the guy, Greg's Greg's Rainforest Adventures. I got to look it up so I get it correct. But anyways, he was really cool, and he told me in his email that he has his web designer working on putting a Bitcoin Pay on there, and I said, well, everybody around here. I go, if you have any problems, I'm sure you could just go knock on Roger Ver's or Joby's door if they're around, and they'd be happy to help you, or point you to the right guy
Sure.
or tell you who the local is to help you out. And he's an older fella, and he just does a little, rainforest tours.
Yeah, sure.
But we had and everybody heard of it. Very few people had wallets. In fact, the Airbnb I stayed in Puerto Rico, that guy had a Bitcoin wallet.
Yep.
He had some Bitcoin and some Ethereum, and he will actually he would love the people just email him if anybody wants to go to Puerto Rico and accept cryptocurrency if they want to stay at his place. And it's a nice little place, 3-minute walk.
The problem with Airbnb
beach.
though is they only take credit card through Airbnb, so you'd have to get to know him somehow outside of Airbnb.
And that's what I'm saying.
Then,
Because I told him, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to tell my friends about this, and I'm going to give them your email. And if anybody wants to go to Puerto Rico, they should hit me up, and I'll, they want to stay at a nice place.
Well, I had an Airbnb out in Portsmouth I'd never done it before, but I did it for the first time in Portsmouth when they had the crypto conference out there, the New Hampshire Blockchain Conference last month, I guess it was. And introduced, of course, I talked to the owner of the Airbnb about cryptocurrency. Like, that was the reason we were in town. Perfect excuse to talk about it. And she hadn't, she obviously heard of Bitcoin, but she hadn't gotten any yet. So we tipped her at the end of the weekend. So we paid our bill on Airbnb with credit card, which is how you have to. But then we set her up with a wallet and gave her tips in cryptocurrency. So now if I need to go out there again, now that I've made the contact, I can get in touch with her directly.
Right, and that's what I talked to this guy about, is paying directly him in cryptocurrency, so you're not paying all the taxes, and then Airbnb isn't taking. And he was
right, because Airbnb is enforcing taxes.
Yes,
so,
they play ball with the governments everywhere.
Right. So they are collecting it's not so bad for the owner of the house because they don't have to pay individually. They don't have to send a form in to the local government. Airbnb takes care of that for them, so it could be more burdensome, and it may actually be more burdensome in some jurisdictions, but I know that in most places Airbnb just submits whatever the tax payments. And speaking of tax payments, Vincent, you and I had the same story here tonight about Ohio. Apparently, the government of Ohio, now I don't know if it's the whole state or maybe it is the whole state. Anyway, the state of Ohio apparently accepting cryptocurrency.
Well, it's letting people pay with cryptocurrency.
Accepting Bitcoin.
We'll see.
We'll find out more about that coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts with us as well, whether it's crypto-related or whatever's on your mind. It goes here on Free Talk Live.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere, from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. Get your Blink camera system starting at less than $100 by visiting blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene.
You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. We're talking about cryptocurrency and the apparently news that Ohio, according to a few different sources, is now the first state to accept Bitcoin. Could this possibly be for real? We will share that with you. It's Ian J. and Vincent in the studio here tonight. And by the way, if you operate a business that is of a retail sort of business, if you actually get a storefront, you get a cash register, you get employees, and maybe you don't have employees, maybe you're just doing it all yourself. But either way, if you're doing a real life business and you want to accept cryptocurrency at your shop, then just go to anypay.global and you can get signed up there. And when I say sign up, I mean you create a username and you create a password. There's no approval process. There's no paperwork. There's no application. There's no fee. There's none of that. In fact, there's no fee for merchants to accept cryptocurrency through anypay.global. So go there, sign up, create that account, and then put your cryptocurrency wallet addresses, your destination, where you want all the crypto to go to, your wallet. You put those addresses in the back end over at anypay.global, load the app on your point of sale device, and that's it. You're done. You're accepting Bitcoin, BTC, you're accepting Zen, Dash, a few others as well. Go to anypay.global to get started there. Again, it's free for merchants. Anypay.global. As we jump into the news here, we're just sort of opened up by just talking about the general state of things, and that is the prices of basically every cryptocurrency are down big time in just the last couple of weeks. If you look at the last month, it's been a total bloodbath with like 40%. I think last time I looked, I think it was about 40% of the price of a Bitcoin has dropped off essentially in the last month. So
other commodities are down too.
I heard
only
that.
Crypto. So like
I heard tech stocks also went down.
Well, I don't even pay attention to that, but like oil's down. So like $50. Huh. A couple months ago it was north of 80. And then my stepfather, who's I just did Thanksgiving with him, and he was just talking about how corn and soybean and all these commodities these guys farm are just are low also, and they've all dropped off. And he thinks it's due to a strengthening dollar, and he feels that it's he likes a weak dollar because he's a crop farmer, and it makes his crops worth more. But he goes, the dollar's just pushing everything down. But I noticed.
I wonder how that can happen. Like how can the dollar strengthen? I mean, it seems like they're constantly printing it. So I mean, it's
the strongest of all the fiats because it's backed up by a military that's going to bomb you back to the Stone Age if you don't use it.
True.
But I really, really think that's going to change with all these big countries. China, India, Russia,
BRICS,
Iran, all de-dollarizing. which I support.
What's BRICS?
Well, it was the acronym for a group of countries a few years ago who tried to make were talking about creating a competitor to the U.S. It stood for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I forget what the S stood for.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Maybe Singapore.
Was it India? Was the I in there? Okay. So here's a story from CCN, which I believe stands for Cryptocurrency News. Headline, will Ohio's acceptance of Bitcoin for tax payments increase legitimacy of crypto? This is what people have been saying for a long time. So we just need to get the government to take cryptocurrency. That way people will know it's real money. Because when the government says something's true, that means it's true.
And the government knows a lot about real money.
4 years ago when I was in Colorado, the big problem was that, it was 4 years ago, I had a conversation with a guy who was a state representative. I forget his name, but he was at some marijuana legalization thing we went to. And I'm like, these guys, going to pay these guys with the pot shops are going to pay their state taxes with, $150,000 in cash, in the trunk of their car. And no, armored car company will touch it. No bank will touch it. And I was basically saying, well, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin's, what I said at the time, Bitcoin would solve that. And
sure would.
Gave the guy, he never heard of Bitcoin. I gave him a whole education on it. And he actually started showing up at the Denver Bitcoin Center occasionally. Yeah, he was I don't know if he was a state representative or a county dude, but he had something to do with, he was on one of these, he was a pro-marijuana guy anyway.
Was he on a board of one of the vendors or one of the pot shops or something?
No, I don't think he had anything. He just basically liked that it was being decriminalized and actually legal, and he was kind of anti-war. I believe he was a Democrat.
Because I went down to Massachusetts in Northampton a week ago, actually, tonight, and apparently the lines, by the way, are still 3-hour wait to get into this place. Will Coley just went down there yesterday and waited 3 hours to get into this place. The marijuana shops, for those that don't know, just opened up on last Tuesday in Massachusetts. There's only 2 of them right now, but more are going to be opening up. And we went down there. You almost went with us, Vincent, but you ended up having to go to some kind of class.
No, I had a meeting.
It was we got there at 7 in the morning, and around 7:10, the line was probably 200 people strong at that point. They didn't open the doors until 8, and we finally got in there at about 10. So it took, after they opened the doors, it took about 2 hours, but we got there early. If we had gotten there an hour later, it would have taken 3 or 4 hours to get into the place. And it's interesting. I'd actually asked them if they're taking Bitcoin, and she said no. But that's one of those things where if enough people ask, maybe they'll start doing it. I wonder how many marijuana shops, whether they be medical or recreational, I wonder how many are accepting cryptocurrency.
I don't know of any right now, but I definitely did push it pretty good to a lot of folks that were in that industry.
It seems like a no-brainer. I mean, it's an easier way for people to do business without having to ask anybody's permission. And as you know, banks are not interested in helping these places. That may change after some legislation is passed to kind of protect that particular industry. I know that's something that's been floated out there, but I don't know where it is as far as when it's going to pass. But now here's your news from ccn.com. Businesses in the state of Ohio are now permitted to settle tax payments using Bitcoin. State Treasurer Josh Mandel, who initially proposed the integration of Bitcoin to the state to facilitate the growth of the local cryptocurrency industry, stated that he views the dominant cryptocurrency as a legitimate form of currency. He said, quote, "I do see Bitcoin as a legitimate form of currency." Further, they say here at CCN, throughout the entirety of its existence since 2009, critics against Bitcoin have said the cryptocurrency lacks intrinsic value, even if no asset, stock, currency, or commodity also has inherent value. Value is subjective and is always dependent on the market, and the value of the U.S. dollar could change based on the state of the global economy, and it does. And it also changes based on the fact that the government prints out the U.S. dollar. So the more they print, the less valuable it will be.
Well, no, not the government prints it. The Federal Reserve prints it.
At the behest of the government.
Well, I mean, they say it's independent in theory.
Yes, but aren't the board members appointed by the president?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're appointed. Once they're appointed, they could do whatever. Or historically, they've just done whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've always believed the Federal Reserve and the banksters, as I like to call them, are essentially the puppeteers for this so-called government that we're experiencing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of suggestive evidence out there to point to that. Who is actually, in charge? That's another question, but some would say that you don't get to be president of the United States unless you've bowed down to these people.
Yeah, and wars are still happening. It looks like Trump's still alive and well. So
Trump, the peace president.
He hasn't. Yeah, right. Yeah, he hasn't done anything too aggressive to the Federal Reserve. I believe that's the reason JFK was assassinated.
He's not draining that swamp, that's for sure. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So, again, the story here saying that Ohio is going to start actually accepting cryptocurrency. We'll see what exactly that means. Is it only businesses for now who can pay taxes in Bitcoin? What about... I don't know, does Ohio have an income tax? What about their other taxes? We're coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in here if you want to join us on the radio. Ohio apparently accepting cryptocurrency as payment of at least one tax. So this isn't going to be an across-the-board thing, at least according to what I'm reading over here at Forbes. I actually found a better piece because Wall Street Journal locks people out of their stories. They obviously don't want people to actually read their content. And Cryptocurrency News ended up just editorializing for after the first paragraph where they said that Ohio was going to accept crypto. They didn't actually give any details. This one from Forbes, we'll get into to it here. Your calls and thoughts also welcome. Our number is 855-450-FREE. You know, everyone loves a choo-choo train, but they've outlived their usefulness, buoyed by our nostalgia and propelled by tax dollars. In his new work, Romance of the Rails, Why the Passenger Trains We Love Are Not the Transportation We Need, historian Randall O'Toole covers the illustrious history of the locomotive and unwinds our fond memories from fantasy. Published by the Cato Institute, Romance of the Rails is the perfect gift for those that love trains. Get Romance of the Rails by Randall O'Toole at Amazon and all major bookstores. As we continue here, let's go to Robert calling us from Vermont. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Jay, and Vincent.
Hi, Jay. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Rob.
All right.
What's on
Happy
your mind?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, go ahead,
Hey,
Robert.
I wanted to ask Jay if he would kindly just go over a little bit about his idea about allodial title, please.
Allodial title. Well, what is it?
So allodial title is supposed to be the highest title to land. So my idea of it, I exercised this in Palmer, Massachusetts, actually on two pieces of property, on my father's farm and on a house I owned in Bondsville. If anybody wants to Google J Noon, Palmer, Mass, you'll see videos with Ian and Pete Air and a bunch of guys and myself.
Back when we were occupying your front yard when they were going to steal your house from you.
Yeah, back when they arrested you for videotaping in town hall.
Oh, yeah, good times.
Yeah. And,
I won that case, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that was great. In fact, somebody had give my brother a hard time about that.
Thanks to the ACLU of Massachusetts, I should say.
Yeah, about that deal actually a couple months ago.
Wait, somebody was giving your brother a hard time about what happened in town hall or with your house getting stolen?
With you getting arrested in town hall and it costing the taxpayers $5,000 to make you go away.
I think it was more than that. I feel like it was more than 5,000.
I don't remember, but the guy said 5,000. He said and Ray Tenzar was the guy who was talking to my brother about. That was a cop that arrested you, and my brother's like, he was whining. He didn't use the word whining. He said the other word, but whining about,
Tenzar was whining, he means?
Yes.
Okay.
To my little brother about, he must have got some slack about it,
Tenzar? Yeah, he screwed up.
I know.
I tried to tell him, too. In the video, you can hear me telling him right before he shuts the camera off that he shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal.
So anyways, back to your question there, Rob. So allodial title is this... and I'm going to call it a theory or an idea because I haven't seen it work yet, that you actually own the property. So I've been digging into this tremendously for years now.
Yeah, you do a lot of research on this stuff.
And I literally burnt myself out on it, actually, and had to take a couple years off from this. But the idea of allodial title, the element I was missing, I believe, is the fact that you can't get allodial title to the property until the lien's off it. And I had mentioned this before, that I had found a lien that was put on actually 4 different pieces of property that I did title research on in the same town, Palmer, Mass. There was liens put on his property in 1939 by one was by a lawyer, Joseph Fury Esquire. If anybody goes to Hampden County Registry of Deeds and just searches that name, you'll see in 1939 that he owned all the land in a village of Thorndike, which is a village of Palmer, for 2 days. The village of Bondsville was a Bondsville Realty Company that owned all the land for 2 days. And there was no wedding signatures on these deeds that granted from the landowner to the realty company or to this lawyer.
No signatures.
No signatures. I brought this up to I believe the guy's name is either Jim Ash or Donald Ash. One of them's a sheriff of Hampden County.
We don't need to know all that detail.
So anyways, there's a lien on all the property that was put on a property that they're making it in 1939. I haven't done the research in New Hampshire yet, but it makes it tremendously difficult to figure out how to pay off that lien. I believe it's a Federal Reserve lien because there's an Erie versus Tompkin Railroad case in 1939.
So hold on, before you go on. So a lien is, no, I'm not an attorney, okay? I'm not a real estate expert or anything like that. I've bought and sold a couple houses in my life, but I'm not an expert at it.
Mm-hmm.
A lien, as I understand it, is essentially evidence of a debt that you can attach to a piece of property and say, oh, well, Jay, you did a bunch of work for me and you skipped out, or no, I did a bunch of work for you. You skipped out. You didn't pay me the money that you owe me. And so, therefore, I'm placing this lien on your property that says that you owe me this money, and you have to satisfy this before you can then sell the property.
Right, and mechanics do it all the time on cars. If you get a bank, the bank puts a lien on the property, and they're first in line to get paid if the property gets sold. But what happened?
But
so yes,
that property you're talking about, the properties had liens put on them in the 30s, but they were sold since then. So how is it they're being sold with liens on them?
Because there's the paperwork for the lien, but we couldn't find the lien. So like I later found some liens that were actual bank liens, and it said the name of the bank, and it had the bank president or VP or whatever signed it or whatever. And then it referenced another book and page number. It's a lien book or mortgage book. So it had the mortgage, and then it had the lien in it. Well, this was like a dead-end thing. There was no book and page reference. And I'm going through
So there was
paper.
like some sort of evidence saying there was a lien or is a lien, but you couldn't find the actual lien.
I couldn't find the actual lien. I set up meetings with Mr. Ash of the Registry of Deeds, and he wasn't there. And I was basically asked by, sheriff's deputies that, to leave the building. I had, some people with me.
What do you think this means? Like,
what I think it means is that in 1932, the United States Corporation filed bankruptcy because they had all this debt owed to the Federal Reserve Bank, and the only thing that was left to lien was the actual property in incorporated counties. So I believe that there was a lien put on all these properties, and I have heard some, and I will refer to this as, Freedom Man folklore talk, that you can actually pay these liens off, and they're generally like 5 to 10 times of what the annual taxes is on the property, and you could pay these liens off. But the towns are like collection agencies for these liens, and what the towns do is they put all these other, school tax, and all school tax really is a very small part of that school tax is actually goes to education. What that goes to is to make sure that all these politicians and government parasites, people who work for the government, have these cushy retirement programs. These retirement funds are guaranteed to return like 8%, and they never do. And what happens is the taxpayers,
they keep shoring it up.
Guns are pointed at property owners. That's why I'm going to digress a little bit here. That's why I believe that this Republican versus Democrat thing is being pushed so hard by media and everybody right now, because the true divide I think is going to happen in this country is going to be between people like that own land that have to pay this crazy property tax and versus those who are receiving the benefit of those paying the tax, and that's all the public parasites that are getting these golden parachute retirement funds.
These government bureaucrats.
Government bureaucrats, yes. I mean, in Ware, New Hampshire, if you're a police officer, you work 2 years of your highest income. You get 75% of that if you work for 25 years. So that's why all these cops go do all these crazy details and stuff and tons of overtime. So they make like $200,000.
So it's sort of like in like Atlas Shrugged. There's 3 types of people: producers versus the looters and parasites.
Yeah. So and the producers, the ones that are producing for the pensions of the government employees, are the taxpayers right now.
Tax slaves, cattle, tax cattle.
Yeah, tax cattle. Yes.
Okay, so basically the allodial title is an actual title to the land, not a certificate of title, not a warranty deed or something like that. And basically it's essentially, Robert, to shorten up the answer, to go back to what you pointed out earlier, is you couldn't find any proof that you could actually get one of these things.
And it's very complex to try to obtain that.
Robert, thank you for the call tonight. I sure hope somebody can figure it out. But if there is a way to do it, they certainly don't want you to know what it is.
No.
And the fact is, they just generally don't follow their own rules anyway, so even if you can point to the rules, they'll just ignore it. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Hello, this is Dr. Bill Deagle, MD of NutriMedical.com, announcing the breakthrough Red Deer Velvet DR. It delivers the protected building blocks of all organs and tissues, allowing your own stem cells as architects and engineers to regenerate you. Not since fetal life, when aging does not occur, has such an amazing NutriMed been available to help heal you and regenerate you. Anti-aging requires that you correct mineral, activated nutraceutical, and jump the gene defects and poor diet you have to deliver the cellular tools for regeneration. You must remove old damaged cells and replace them with your young healthy cells to wind the biological clock to a younger you. Order your Red Deer Velvet DR now at NutriMedical.com 24/7 or 888-212-8871. That's NutriMedical, N-U-T-R-I, medical, MEDICAL.com, or call our order line 888-212-8871.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial in right here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE.
That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Whether you want to talk about cryptocurrency or esoteric, obtuse, nebulous legal theories like the idea of the allodial title, the idea that you could somehow, from this coercive state, extract the right to ownership of your land. Because we don't own land. It's just being rented from the government.
Yeah, basically.
So to somehow convert that situation into a situation in which you do not owe property taxes because you are not a serf living on the king's land, basically. And so,
and I really believe the what we need to do is figure out how to pay off these liens that we're putting on all the properties in 1939. And like I said, I've done research, and guys in Colorado, guys in Michigan, guys in New York, guys down in Virginia, they researched all the deeds, and they found this same dead end, 1939.
Now you found it in Massachusetts when you were
County
looking.
Registry of Deeds.
Have you looked in New Hampshire yet?
I have looked in New Hampshire.
Because I'm curious to see if what you find is consistent.
And I really need to be motivated to go do that. But I've been super
you're busy. You just bought a house. You're in the initial home buyer repair phase where you find all the things that are wrong with the place, and there's always going to be something, and you try to fix the most glaring issues, right?
My buddy Silver Dave's actually making a film about repairing this house.
Wow!
Because it's a really cool house. It's a geodesic dome. It's
Those are so cool. You ever seen one of these, Vincent? Go look up geodesic dome online. It is it's a dome, right? It's not not a pointy roof.
Yep. YouTube Silver Dave Productions Inspiration of the Domes is a trailer about it.
Oh, cool.
So we had to rebuild literally 1/3 of this wooden structure, which is 16 to 30 foot off the ground. It's all triangles. It's very tricky.
You can't crawl up on the top of this thing easily, right? This is tricky.
No, I mean, I was wearing safety harnesses, and got a bucket truck and a man lift and ladders and staging, and everything is super complex. Just to do one section, which actually fixing the actual roof and fixing the building's easy. It takes a day to build all the staging, and then you got to move all the staging, and that's what took
that's the hard part.
All the staging and all the safety equipment and setting up the harnesses and having things just so you don't get hurt.
Right,
is the biggest deal about it.
Yeah, the geodesic dome. For those who don't know, I did a little bit of research into it when I was looking at when I was looking at moving up here, and some people mentioned that, and it is very, very energy efficient. As I understand it, it also helps withstand very high winds and lots of high amounts of snow and that kind of thing. And it's supposed to be really, really good for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're super strong structures. If this was a regular box like Salt Box or Ranch or Cape Cod type house, I'm convinced it would have fell in. Maybe a couple of years ago. One section, 1/3 of it was so rotted, it was so compromised.
So you've been busy with that. But if you do get more information on this allodial title research, I'm sure you're going to share it with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Let our audience know. So back to the story here from Forbes. This is that the Ohio government is apparently launching a website, ohiocrypto.com. Ohio will become the first state in the nation to accept tax payments using cryptocurrency. Ohio Treasurer Josh Mandel says, quote, "We are proud to make Ohio the first state in the nation to accept tax payments via crypto. We're doing this to provide Ohioans more options and ease in paying their taxes, and also to project Ohio's leadership in embracing blockchain technology." Going on with the story here, under the new payment system, not all taxpayers can make payment in crypto. It's limited to businesses operating in Ohio. So individuals, homeowners, you're not going to be paying in crypto at this point. However, offering the service to individual taxpayers is on the agenda. But Mandel hasn't indicated any specific time frame for that expansion. Here's how it works. If you operate a business in the state of Ohio and you have a tax bill, you can register online at ohiocrypto.com to pay your taxes. You can make payments on any of 23 eligible business-related taxes, and there is no transaction limit. The Treasurer's Office isn't holding, mining, or investing in cryptocurrency for payments or processing. All cryptocurrency payments are processed by a third-party cryptocurrency payment processor, BitPay. And I know BitPay's been working on getting a government on board with this. And BitPay, of course, was the world's first merchant services provider. They're the competitor to AnyPay. We talked about AnyPay.global earlier tonight. BitPay was there doing it first, way back in 2013. And they did a great job. I mean, I got to hand it to BitPay as far as the system they came up with. But they never added something besides Bitcoin. And that's what AnyPay came along and did. And they added Dash, and then they added Zcash, and they added Zen. And I think they got a couple more that they're working on. But AnyPay was the first to really kind of break out of that just Bitcoin zone that these guys were in. Anyway, so now they got their first government on board, and the payments are immediately converted into dollars before being deposited into a state account.
So if we're not accepting crypto, we're just we're letting people pay in crypto, and it gets transferred to dollars. So
they are technically accepting crypto, but they're instantly converting it to dollars.
So if they were accepting crypto, then wouldn't the state have its own Bitcoin wallet? Well,
technically, they have a wallet on file with BitPay. And the way BitPay works is you set up BitPay, and then you can instruct BitPay. So one of the only things that AnyPay doesn't do is they don't do settlement to banks. So they didn't want to get into that just because there's all these regulations about trying to get out of cryptocurrency and get into dollars. That's a regulated activity generally, and so if you're doing it from an exchange perspective, they tend to believe that activity is regulated, I guess I should say. And so they jump through all these maybe unnecessary hoops, but either way they do it. And so basically you've got a wallet with BitPay. They accept crypto into that wallet, and then there's an instruction that you give BitPay. Do you want to cash out 0%? Do you want to cash out 10%? Do you want to cash out 100%? You can set a little slider that determines.
That's a nice option.
It is. Which portion of the crypto that's coming in stays as crypto, and which portion gets instantly converted into an ACH transfer right into your bank account. So what they're saying here is the state of Ohio has that set to 100% going to cash, which means that BitPay is basically keeping the crypto and then giving them the cash for it. They're probably selling the crypto or something like that on the other end.
FSP Incorporated does the same thing.
That's the Free State Project?
Yeah, the Free State Project, when you pay them in any crypto, it turns right to, they convert it right to cash.
See, no, that's a mistake in my mind.
And I don't think it counts as accepting crypto because it's just, it's even though, for like half a second they have crypto, it just gets turned to dollars.
Well, they're not keeping it. It counts as accepting it because from the customer's perspective, you're paying with crypto.
Yes.
So you're paying a tax bill with cryptocurrency. That means they're accepting it. What doesn't count, in my opinion, is when you have those cards, like the crypto credit card looking things. Have you ever seen one of those? Where they actually have BitPay's got one, actually. I've got one here in my wallet. But they actually have a debit card that is cryptocurrency fueled. So you load it with crypto, but it doesn't actually have a balance with crypto. So the moment at which I send crypto to this card,
yes.
It then converts to US dollars at that moment. So this is really just a dollar-based debit card. So when I go and I scan this at any payment point, I'm paying in dollars. That company's not accepting cryptocurrency. It's just essentially a workaround to allow somebody who has crypto to spend, I'm putting air quotes around that, to spend their crypto. But that's not real. Whereas if you are actually, going and paying a tax bill, you're paying from your Bitcoin wallet. Yes. You're paying Bitcoin. Whether the business decides to keep it or not is irrelevant. So for instance, there's one business here in Keene. Most of them, so we live in an area where you can pay cryptocurrency for a lot of stuff in town. So there's a dentist, there's a car repair shop, there's several food places. Anyway, one of the food places, and I won't say which one, he has actually cashed out some of his crypto. And most of them are holding it because it's not a big chunk of their revenue. But this one guy, he needs the money. He's pretty tight as far as how much he's bringing in every month, and so he feels like he needs that cash, and so he has actually cashed that out. He doesn't do it instantly, but he does it later. So whether it's instant or later, obviously we want people to stay into crypto, but it has to be attractive for them. They have to see the value in staying in it, and I suspect that the Free State Project, had they stayed into crypto, would have done much, much better had they instead of cashing it out.
I'll back up on that a little bit. So I only know this to be true as of Liberty Forum last year because that's what I had asked of folks who were doing it. Because if you paid in Dash last year, you got a 15 or 20% off your Liberty Forum ticket. And I believe it was a similar thing with PorkFest. Anyways, the payment program that they were using put it right into fiat. And because I said to them, I go, how come you guys aren't using AnyPay for this? Because they were trying to process transactions through Dash, and they weren't showing up. They weren't getting received. and people had done like 2 or 3 transactions, and then they had to send them back, but the money had already been converted to fiat. So it was a little bit of a problem.
Sounds like a mess.
Yeah.
There's more coming up here. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. Is this, news about Ohio accepting cryptocurrency going to legitimize crypto? Because some people were saying this is what we've all been waiting for. Well, the price hasn't gone up. It's Free Talk Live.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. Silver's trading at $14.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223 per ounce. Zen is trading at $6, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,767. Antiwar.com reports attacks by U.S.-backed Kurdish forces and counterattacks by the Islamic State in eastern Syria have escalated dramatically since Friday, and in that period of time, over 200 people have been killed. This includes 92 members of the Kurdish forces killed in that period of time. This is the largest number of Kurdish SDF forces killed in a single battle all year, according to officials. 61 the Islamic State members were also reported slain between the fighting and subsequent U.S. airstrikes against the positions of the Islamic State around the towns. But as is often the case, U.S. strikes against populated areas came with a terrible cost to the civilian population. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights estimated that 51 civilians were killed, mostly relatives of the Islamic State fighters. This battle was attributed to foggy weather in the area, which allowed the Islamic State to launch surprise attacks without fear of U.S. air support getting directly involved. The U.S. strikes appeared to center on the towns themselves and trying to allow the Kurds to reverse the Islamic State gains at nearby villages. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports Ohio on Monday became the first state to accept Bitcoin as a tax payment option for businesses. According to the state treasurer's website, the treasurer's office is also working to help make Ohio a national leader in blockchain technology. Some supporters of cryptocurrency applauded the decision, saying it lends legitimacy and may help stabilize the often volatile electronic currency. But others warn that because the value of cryptocurrency is unstable and some argue it can be manipulated through trading schemes, it is too risky for governments to consider it money. John Griffin, a professor of finance at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business, said, "To the extent that Bitcoin is gamed, legitimizing it as a source of currency for the state is a bad idea. Governments have debated whether to treat cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as a legitimate currency or as a commodity that can be traded for money." David Vexler, director of technology at the Foundation for Economic Education, said, "Part of the reason cryptocurrency is so volatile is because nobody knows what will happen to it in the future," adding, "It could fail entirely, it could play a small role in our currencies, or it could have a major role as big as the dollar." Vexler says Ohio's decision to accept Bitcoin as money could help stabilize its value, especially if other states follow Ohio's lead, and he suspects the move will encourage businesses that use cryptocurrencies to relocate to Ohio. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports jury selection began on Monday in the trial of a man accused of killing a woman by driving his car into a crowd of counter-protesters after a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia last year. James Fields Jr. faces 10 criminal counts in Virginia, including first-degree murder and malicious assault. He has pled not guilty to the charges, which could send him to prison for the rest of his life. Fields was among hundreds of white nationalists who converged on the town, home of the University of Virginia, to protest plans to remove a statue of a Confederate war hero from a local park. One of his attorneys, John Hill, told prospective jurors that the defense would present testimony showing the defendant thought he was acting in self-defense. Hill also told them to expect medical and mental health testimony. Federal prosecutors have said that Fields routinely promoted racial ideologies on his social media accounts and expressed support for Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust. On Monday, Fields appeared calm after entering a heavily guarded Charlottesville Circuit courtroom. As jury selection began, he frequently turned towards the audience in the courtroom. Circuit Court Judge Richard E. Moore told a large group of prospective jurors that the trial could last up to 3 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Tomorrow's my big day. I'm going to go in for surgery, and hopefully you'll come along. Now, I do have to admit that I am in a bit of pain, so I'm really looking forward to this procedure. I think we're both going to find out that having surgery just isn't as scary as it sounds.
We're covering our own Jim Haggerty's kidney stone removal surgery, and his surgery is now just minutes away. So, Dr. Atka, tell us what precautions we would take to prevent us from getting kidney stones.
Always stay hydrated. Water helps the kidneys break the stuff down.
Hear that, Jim? More water.
What?
More water. Maybe we should replace your coffee.
Please go away. Please. Ow, no.
That's a camera they're going to use to film the whole surgery from inside Jim's
yes,
body,
that's going to be pushed into Jim's urethra as well. Now, normally they wouldn't do this. This is purely for the benefit of us watching it on TV.
All right, stick with us because first he's going to pop into the children's ward to cheer up some youngsters suffering from terminal illnesses.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Is the rent too damn high? We're going to find out coming up here in moments. Vincent's got the story on that. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Jay.
And Vincent.
For those of you just tuning in, we were talking about the idea that the state of Ohio is apparently going to become the first state in the United States to accept cryptocurrency as tax payments. And indeed, they actually have an official website set up, ohiocrypto.com. It is a cryptocurrency tax payment portal. And, you know, on the scale of state websites, this one actually looks pretty decent. Like a lot of state government sites are pretty dismal. They're pretty, circa the year 2000. They don't look like they've had an update in some amount of time. This one actually looks pretty slick, at least on its front page. I haven't gone any deeper than that. But yeah, apparently this is a thing that you can do now. And if you are a business owner in the state of Ohio. So it's not for individual tax payments, at least not yet. It is only for business owners. So you register on the website, ohiocrypto.com. You can make payments on any of 23 eligible business-related taxes, and there's no transaction limit. The government is not holding the crypto. They are immediately converting it to U.S. dollars. So that is, it's interesting detail. Quote, the state of Ohio is the first major government entity offering its citizens the option to pay with cryptocurrency, says the co-founder and CEO of BitPay. He said further, with BitPay, Ohio can leverage blockchain technology and benefit from reduced risk and identity fraud, as well as enabling quick and, I think what he means is they'll benefit from less identity fraud because, the government isn't switching completely to cryptocurrency here. Anyway, as well as enabling quick and easy payments from any device anywhere in the world and getting paid in dollars, this vision is at the forefront of moving blockchain payments into mainstream adoption. Now, if you are familiar with BitPay, you know that means you got to use a special kind of wallet. That's one of the downsides to BitPay these days is they don't accept payments from every cryptocurrency wallet out there. There's a specific set of standards that they have created that only some wallets have actually enabled. So that's going to cause a problem for some people, but BitPay says the reason they did that was because there were too many incompatibilities and too many other issues previously. So they made their own kind of payments protocol. We can tell you more about what's going on here.
But setting up a wallet is so easy, and I'm sure BitPay's got a list of wallets that anybody could set up.
Yeah. No, they've got a list, and it's a lot of the big ones. So like Edge Wallet is in there, and CoPay, which is their own official cryptocurrency wallet, the Bitcoin Core wallet, Bitcoin Cash wallets. Let's go to the phones here. We got JJ. He's on the line in Nebraska listening through LRN.FM. Hello, JJ.
Hello there, fellas. How are y'all doing today?
Hey, what's on your mind, JJ?
Well, you guys got that camera going. I guess it's on its own, right? It just changes when it wants to change.
Yeah, pretty much, because we can't hire somebody to actually run the cameras. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we just got to have basically a robot do it.
Because sometimes it goes over to the dog there, and the dog's licking its own a-hole or whatever.
Well, whatever, man. That's what dogs do.
Yeah, I know, but do you ever consider maybe it's because it's always licking its own a-hole and just getting right in there, digging in there real hard, right on the camera.
All right, we're just going to let you go. Thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. If you got something interesting to talk about, you're welcome to call in about it. But we're not going to get explicit here on the radio because we can't. So going on. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Currently, the Treasurer's Office is only accepting Bitcoin for payment, but the plan is to add other cryptocurrencies in the future, they say. And that's because, again, they're just cashing it out. So they don't care if they take Dash, if they take Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. It's as long as BitPay is going to convert it. And right now, BitPay, as I understand it, only allows for payments in Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash. So I don't think BitPay themselves is offering any other options.
But if anybody's got any cryptocurrency, any form, they could shapeshift it into Bitcoin without a lot of aggravation. And
correct.
And when they get recreational marijuana in Ohio, I mean, this is be great. These people don't have to put $200,000 worth of tax money in the trunk of their car and drive somewhere to pay it. They could just
get it done.
Just get it done. That's beautiful.
Currently, let's see. There's a cost associated with paying in cryptocurrency. It is worth noting taxpayers who pay via credit cards and debit cards are also subject to fees from payment providers, but are not assessed fees through the Treasurer's Office. Taxpayers paying using cryptocurrency are charged a transaction fee, network fee, and a miner fee. The miner fee will be displayed in the taxpayer's wallet and not on ohiocrypto.com. The transaction fee will be 0% during an initial 3-month introductory period, and after that time it will be 1%. Fees are user fees and are not supplemented by state funds. So this isn't unusual for the state. If you've ever paid a tax bill, they will frequently tell you, oh, well, we will let you pay with a credit card, but it's going to be 3% more. And that's because they don't want, unlike a business where when you pay with a credit card at a business, the business eats the cost of the credit card fees out of their profits. So businesses generally don't charge two different prices. There's no cash price and no credit card price at most businesses. That's because they're eating the cost. Governments never eat the cost of credit card fees. They always add it on top.
A lot of gas stations in New Hampshire, it'll be like, I bought diesel for $2.99 a gallon the other day. When I walked up to the pump, it said $3.05.
Really?
And I went in and paid cash and came back and it was at $2.99. And I went and got my change and they said, or $3.04 it said, but it said, it's 5 cents more if you pay with a credit card, is what they said.
Wait. So you went in and paid cash and they lowered the price for you?
Yeah, at the pump. No, but it said $2.99 on a sign driving by, so I pulled in, and then it said $3.05 on the pump. When I got out of the truck. When I walked
interesting.
When I walked in and paid for it, I came back and it said $2.99 because they charge you 5 cents or 6 cents more if you're paying with a credit card. Those Budget Gas in Manchester is actually then they have a Bitcoin ATM at Budget Gas in Manchester on Willow Street. Yes, that's what it was.
Wow, I'm surprised by that because, does it actually say on the sign cash price?
No, it doesn't.
I'm surprised they're not getting in trouble for that.
Oh, it might say, I don't know.
Because unless it says cash price on the sign, if you put given the regulations, it's just bad business in my opinion, but I bet you there's some sort of regulation saying that whatever the sign is out front is what the price has to be at the pump. I can't believe that if you get to the pump and you're looking at the pump and then looking at the sign and you're seeing a 5 cent difference. That's got to be.
It could say cash price
actionable.
and little, but I don't pay attention to the small print on the signs. Because I just pay cash anyways.
Yeah. Let's go to Sarah. She's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, last night we had one pedestrian get run over by two different cars and got killed.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the two drivers, they ran off. It was hit and run. And then the night before that, somebody else got killed. A pedestrian got killed the night before, and then last night.
Was the pedestrian intoxicated by any chance? Did they mention that? That's generally what happens because I've looked into this. In Albuquerque, anyways.
I think he was maybe jaywalking, and it was dark late at night.
Yeah, but you didn't answer the question.
That's why jaywalking's illegal, Ian. That's why we need laws.
That is not why it's illegal.
Because you could die, dude. It's
anywhere.
To keep people safe. Jaywalking.
You can jaywalk anywhere as long as you look both ways before you cross the street.
But no, it's dangerous. That's why it's illegal. It's dangerous.
No, it's not.
Yes, these people got killed for jaywalking.
No, they didn't. They got killed because they probably stumbled into the road because they were S-face drunk is most likely what happened.
One of the islands I went to, they drive you on the other side of the road. But like most of the cars are from the U.S., so they're all got the the left-hand driver's side, but they're driving on the wrong side of the road. Wow. So the driver's alongside the curb, whatever. But I was so used to just looking left when I go across the road, and a local goes, "You got to look right, dude.
Look both ways."
And just. There comes a little car. It was actually an electric car. I didn't even hear it. I don't think I would have stepped out in the road, but.
And you weren't drunk, were you?
No. But that was interesting. I was waiting to cross the road.
Sarah, that is it's a true statement. A lot of these pedestrians who are getting hit by cars and killed by cars, they're drunk and they don't have their wits about them because normally you can see a car coming. If you're paying attention to your surroundings, cars aren't exactly camouflaged. They're not going to just pop right out at you. Unless, you aren't paying attention.
Electric cars are silent, or very quiet at least.
Sarah, thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is
nutrition, the omega-3 fatty acids,
flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Millions of Americans are irrationally feared dead following a train derailment near Wilmington, Delaware.
Less than 200 people were aboard the train, but because no names have been released yet, countless more are being imagined trapped inside the wreckage by worried parents and overly anxious friends.
And the list of imagined victims is growing by the minute. From brothers-in-law who live in Delaware, who usually drive but could possibly have been on that train, to friends who went to Delaware on a business trip and may have been next to the tracks for some reason when the train derailed.
And sadly, we're getting reports that even those who have never been to Delaware are now also among those irrationally thought killed.
Oh, and we are just now getting word from Homeland Security that they're now warning people their fears may spiral into a wholly new fear that their loved ones never existed at all and are just byproducts of a drug-induced lucid dream in which their consciousness is currently imprisoned.
Such a shame, since this is reality.
There is nothing beyond this to believe otherwise. It would be folly.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free to bring up whatever you want. Bitcoin price is down big time over the last couple of weeks, down 40% in just the last month. It's been a tough month for some of the people in the world of crypto, but a lot of us understand that, we've been through this before. We've been through peaks, we've been through dips, we've been through these bear markets, as they call them, just hold on for the ride. That tends to be, I'm not a legal advisor, I'm not an investment advisor, but that's what I would do in this circumstance, and that is what I am doing. Just hanging on, because Bitcoin's had slumps before, and it always comes out over time. Now, there's no guarantee that anything like that will continue to happen in the future, but I believe that as long as Bitcoin is useful, and it is, cryptocurrency is a useful concept, that its value will continue to go up over time. If you want to spend some of your crypto, like your Bitcoin Cash, you can do it through Bitcoin.com. They've partnered up with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it's easier than ever to get gift cards of big places like Applebee's, Domino's, Home Depot, Hotels.com, Nike, and hundreds more. Just visit giftcards.bitcoin.com. You can pick the card that you want. Follow the instructions on the screen and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight, and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com. As we continue here with you in the studio, it's Ian,
Jay,
and Vincent.
So Bitcoin is under attack. There's been a price dip over the last couple of weeks, several weeks. And, of course, this is leading to the Bitcoin haters to start parading out there like, see, we told you, Bitcoin, it's bad news. See, price is down. But, of course, it's important to keep a little bit of perspective. Remember the $3,000 or $3,500 per Bitcoin right now, 37 maybe today. This is basically August of 2017 prices.
I've been following silver since I was 7 or 8 years old, silver prices. I can remember opening up the Sunday paper, my grandfather's paper, and looking to see what silver was worth. And, my grandmother gave me some silver coins.
Right.
But, and it's, silver's, gotten attacked, I guess, or it's gotten suppressed or pushed down, or the market just didn't see a need for silver and a lot of people didn't buy it and it fell and then it booms back up. Just look at silver prices over the past, 30 or 40 years. It's all, and a lot of commodities do this. I mean, silver, for example, it's many times in history it's been cheaper than the price than the cost of mining silver. In fact, you can't mine silver or gold in the United States like in the past couple years at a profit. Because it's been down so much. It actually costs more to mine it. I think the break-even point on silver in the United States is right about $14, $13, but like in Africa, it's like $8 or $6.
Because you have to pay people more in the U.S.
Right, and gold's kind of the same thing, and things like that. But it's always going to go up and down, and silver really started to fluctuate a lot basically after 1971, after the United States went off the gold standard.
Well, now they say that, and you touched on this, they say that the price of silver is manipulated by big banks.
That's what they say.
Who the allegation is that they will sell you silver, these big silver dealers or banks or whoever it is that's selling it, but you don't actually get the silver. You get a piece of paper that says you've got silver on a deposit somewhere.
Right.
Then if you try to actually get the silver, if you say, all right, I don't want this paper anymore, I want the actual silver, then they're like, whoa, hold on, we're just going to have to just hold on. We're getting it for you. We got to go get it out of cold storage. It might take 30 days.
We got to get it out of London, and it's going to cost a ton of money to ship it to you, but we'll give you $2 over spot to buy it back.
But the idea is they don't actually have the silver, and so, or they don't have, a fraction of what they're supposed to have. They're essentially selling silver to you that they don't have. So kind of almost like fractional reserve silver, if you will.
Well, that's the original Rothschild bankster scheme. Was Ishmael Mayer Rothschild somewhere in Europe hundreds of years ago or whatever, took people's silver on deposit, gave them certificates for the silver, and then he just started printing up certificates of silver that didn't exist because it was easier to trade these certificates than the silver.
And they never called the bank, and they never went down to collect their silver. They were just trading the certificates.
And when they wanted the silver back, it was too late. Rothschild had become this banking empire, and nobody could do anything about it.
Can't touch him.
Right.
So that can be going on today. And, could the Federal Reserve manipulate the price of Bitcoin? In theory, they could, because they have so much money at their disposal. They could.
I wonder if
it's not impossible.
Bitcoin futures ETFs or whatever they are, which I don't know. I really understand exactly.
I don't know either
how that works.
Exchange traded fund, I think, is what that.
But I know
stands for
futures with like corn or oil. You would buy futures of corn and oil, but you wouldn't take that. You're not going to get 1 million bushels of corn or 500 bushels of corn and bring it home and put it in your. It's not going to get shipped to you, and you're not going to put it in your living room.
Yeah.
I can't understand why anybody in their right mind would buy a cryptocurrency future, because you can hold the cryptocurrency with no storage fee. It's not like you're holding hundreds of thousands.
It's somebody
of
who
dollars.
doesn't understand what they're getting.
Right. And that might be how this market's getting manipulated. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of things. I'm not getting enough information on this futures trading in Bitcoin, and I really don't even know enough to talk about it. But I just got a gut feeling if Bitcoin is being manipulated, or if it's just having its growing pains, or whatever's going on.
I tend to believe it's growing pains personally, but that's not to say that it's impossible for them to manipulate it. But either way, here's the Los Angeles Times and their piece about this. Matt O'Brien writing the headline: Bitcoin plunges again. Now the only currency worse than Bitcoin is Venezuela's. All right, talk about a hyperbolic headline. I gotta know exactly how he's going to back that statement up. He says, if nothing else, Bitcoin was supposed to protect people. And then we'll talk about the rent going up as well. Bitcoin was supposed to protect people from governments that were destroying their own currencies, governments such as Venezuela, where inflation is said to be somewhere around 49,000% right now.
Well, just to interrupt, cryptocurrencies, and specifically Dash, what was it? I was at something Pork Fest, and Joel was talking about all the Dash being used in Venezuela, and how it's really saving people's, it's saving them, it's helping them out a lot. And Dash and just cryptocurrency in general has really helped a lot of people in Venezuela in the past,
That's what I've heard
so.
as well, and I haven't done a lot of digging into it because I would be interested in learning more about just, hearing some of the stories as far as, how it has helped people, because it's obviously going to help somebody. If you get into cryptocurrency, you're not going to likely, even with the risks of the price fluctuations with crypto, and we've seen them, again, dropping over the last several weeks, but even with that, you're still probably better off with crypto than you are with Venezuela's currency because they're just hyperinflating the hell out of that. So anything else in crypto seems stable compared to Venezuela's currency.
Hey, I give anyone who I work for a discount for crypto rather fiat any day.
Right, just to incentivize people to actually use it.
'Cause I like it better.
And so lately, though, they say Bitcoin hasn't fulfilled that mission. Not unless you think being down about 80%, as Bitcoin has been since last December, counts as protecting you from the 99.6% losses you would have taken on your Venezuelan bolivar at that time. The virtual currency slid as much as 17% on Monday.
Well, how much has the U.S. dollar lost in value? What percentage since 1913?
A lot. Yeah, probably 96% or something?
More than Bitcoin's, I could tell you.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, they're ignoring the fact that Bitcoin is up from zero to, right now, $3,700. But we'll get more of this critic here in moments because he claims there's a paradox that he'll explain coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up what you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms discussing the attacks against Bitcoin. Oh, price is down, so therefore all the critics are right. Well, there's somebody over at the Los Angeles Times who is going off against Bitcoin and saying, likening it to the Venezuelan currency, which is in absolutely dismal, hyperinflating shape. We'll tell you more about that coming up here. And also, is the rent too damn high? Vincent has a story saying rents are going up and you're getting less for what you're paying, and we'll see what
smaller rooms.
We'll see what that's all about coming up here in a few moments. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. And we're going right back to your phone calls. But first, I do want you to know about the Blink Home Security System. You want to talk about a great holiday gift? Well, this could be it. BlinkProtect.com/holiday. Because when do you want to spot the burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? You can ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home, or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Blink motion-activated cameras are wireless. They set up in minutes and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. And, of course, these make great holiday gifts. So go to BlinkProtect.com/holiday. BlinkProtect.com/holiday. Blink is an Amazon company. We'll get back into the Bitcoin critique here from the Los Angeles Times. But first, Jason in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Jay, and Vincent.
Yes, hi. How are you guys tonight?
Hey, are you on a speakerphone?
Yeah.
Can you pick up that speakerphone? Because it definitely sounds like it.
Sounds like your head's in a bucket.
I'm sorry, the phone's nowhere near me. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
No, it's not making much of a difference. I mean, we can hear you. If you got one quick thing to say, you can, but I don't want to have a long conversation over a speakerphone.
Oh, okay, I was hoping your guy was going to pick up on that, but he let me through. Anyway, as far as the futures market's effect on Bitcoin and silver, there's something called naked shorting, where if you have enough money, you can just dump a whole bunch of silver or Bitcoin effectively on the market by simply selling something you don't own. That creates an extremely large supply, if you have that kind of money to do it.
How do you sell something you don't own?
Naked shorting.
Yes, that's just the way it is. I do futures trading myself. I've sold hundreds and hundreds of barrels of oil, and as you guys probably would imagine, I don't have oil. I don't actually possess oil to sell. You can do that with anything on.
Don't you have like a piece of paper saying that you own oil, and then you're just selling that piece of paper, basically?
No, I just you click a button on your trading platform, and you've effectively created a contract to sell oil. In my case, oftentimes that I don't own. That creates an extra supply on the market.
But how does the person buy oil that you don't own? Again, I'm not a professional trader, so I don't understand that.
Well, it gets settled. I had better settle in cash. I had better close the contract before the contract is up, and that's how you can drive down the price in this, like for instance, Bitcoin or silver. You can create extra supply that doesn't actually exist.
But how does the person get their oil?
They don't.
So it's a scam? I mean, are you talking about committing fraud?
Just manipulation.
No, that's the way it works. This is the way the market works. It's called naked shorting.
Okay.
Can
you look that up, Vincent? Naked short. I want to try to have a better understanding of this. Thank you for the call, Jason. I appreciate hearing from you. We're going to let you go because, like I said, the speakerphone is just not going to cut it. But if you want to call on a better line, you're welcome to.
And that's a 5-star call right there, as far as I'm concerned. That was good information.
Well, I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I wish we could have kept going, but I just can't. Not with the speakerphone.
So just this tiny blurb from Investopedia.com. Naked shorting is the illegal practice of
so it's illegal. Go ahead.
Of short selling shares that have not been affirmatively determined to exist. Ordinarily, traders must borrow a stock or determine that it can be borrowed before they sell it short.
How about naked shorting futures, because that had to do with stocks?
Mm-hmm. You're talking about Bitcoin futures.
Well, he was just saying you could naked short silver or Bitcoin futures and then create an artificial supply in the marketplace, so it looks like that there is more than actually exists, is what I understood.
And drive the price down.
What I'd like to understand is how could you actually look up and see what people are shorting? Because if you ever watch that movie, The Big Short, come out a few years ago, it's a really good movie. You should sit down and watch it sometime. But basically, it talks about the stock market crash and the banking crisis of 2008.
I've seen Wolf of Wall Street. This probably isn't like that, right?
No, not at all. No. It's pretty good, though. It's very informative.
Yeah, I liked it.
And in fact, I need to watch it again. It's been a few years since I watched it. But so all these companies were shorting a whole bunch of people were shorting subprime mortgages, and then. And I would like to look at a chart of shorts if it was available to see what is being shorted, and then that would kind of give you an idea of what the traders on Wall Street are betting against. A short is basically, if I shorted stocks in General Motors, I'm basically, from what I understand, making a bet that General Motors stock is going to fall.
Go down, right?
And I guess you can short it to a certain number or a certain date. I don't really understand how it works. It's very complex, and I've just never studied it because I've just I got better things to do, but it's certainly interesting. And as soon as I heard a year ago or 2 years ago or so that Bitcoin was going to be traded as a future, my whole life I've been hearing that, it's the futures market that's suppressing silver, and that's how they suppress it, is through the futures.
So you thought this is bad news.
So I thought this was bad news. And the day that the futures contract opened on Bitcoin was the day that it hit its record high of whatever it was.
Interesting.
According to
coincidence?
According to this guy Ken Shorgen, and then when the future expired on and Ken Shorgen does nice. He's actually, I heard about him from Angel Clark.
Yeah.
And he does a thing called Shotgun Economics. You can look up. But Ken Shorgen talks about how the day that the futures became active was the day that Bitcoin hit its peak, and then 30 days later, when the future expired, Bitcoin was at exactly about 50%. Went down to like 9,000 something, and then 30 days later, it was at like another low. And he goes through these Bitcoin futures, and he's always, so every time the contract expires. But I tried Googling like when Bitcoin futures expire and this, that, and I just couldn't really navigate it too well.
Out? Yeah,
I couldn't never find anything on it.
So the story here from the Los Angeles Times, critical of Bitcoin, saying that it's lost 80% of its value in the last year, which puts it second to the Venezuelan bolivar as far as currencies losing value. The fact of the matter is, he says, Bitcoin's been around for 10 years now, but we still haven't found one use for it.
Wow, this guy's.
This guy clearly never bought drugs online before.
Right? This is the third paragraph here, claiming that there's not a single use for Bitcoin. He says at its most grandiose, it was supposed to replace the U.S. dollar as the way people did business around the world. But its most realistic, it was at least supposed to replace, say, the Zimbabwean dollar as the way people did business in places where inflation had spiraled out of control. So, okay. Obviously, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. His name is Matt O'Brien. He's with the Washington Post. Actually, this is Los Angeles Times. They're reprinting the Washington Post. Yeah, I use Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies every single week, multiple times per week, to go out to eat, for instance. I get my car repaired with cryptocurrency. I'm going to be going to a cryptocurrency dentist here in the next time I have a dental appointment, which is in February. And we frequently find each other, and paying, we pay each other in cryptocurrency to do things.
Yep.
So our show hosts here on Free Talk Live get a little stipend, like a fuel stipend, basically, at the end of the month.
Just the other week, I bought plants with Bitcoin Cash, of all things.
Yep, there was a garden shop here in New Hampshire, actually in the southern corner of New Hampshire, that was taking cryptocurrency as well.
It was from a private garden.
Sure. There's a golf course that accepts cryptocurrency here in the area. So, I mean, the idea that there's not a single use for it, well, clearly there are thousands and thousands of uses. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any value. If all Bitcoin was pure speculation, it wouldn't be worth $3,500 per Bitcoin. And a lot of them are speculative. There's no doubt about it. A lot of the cryptocurrencies out there are speculative, but all of them are kind of riding on the shoulders of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin hadn't been useful in the first place, nobody would have bothered copying it. So there's more coming up here. We'll get to more of his critique. It's not a quality critique, but it's entertaining. On the way here, this is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like many of us? All the distractions in the world taking our minds and focus off what really needs to get done day to day? Well, Janess has a dietary supplement called Mind to help with mental distraction, and it supports memory function. Go to gcnlife.com now to check it out. You're only at your best when your mind is at its best. Go to gcnlife.com or call toll-free 844-443-6637. That's gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here. You can bring up whatever you want. Coming up, your calls about whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And by the way, big thanks to Christian Saucier. He is a Free Talk Live Gold amplifier coming from the Quebec region, actually similar to where you're from, Vincent. Christian is a longtime supporter of the show, and Gold means he's doing $10 a month that he's sending into Free Talk Live that we can then use to advertise, market, and promote. That's what AMP stands for. It is money that we use to get on new radio stations. We're not buying airtime. We are, pitching the show to stations, getting them to come on board and air the show based on merit, based on the fact that we're out there and we do a good show and we're 7 nights a week. And it's that money from the Free Talk Live amplifiers really makes a big difference in our ability to spread the ideas of liberty. So if you like what we do, you appreciate the work that we're doing here, then please amp the show over at ampamp.freetalklive.com. You can use Bitcoin BTC, by the way, as well as credit card, as well as PayPal. It is up to you. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. And again, thanks to Christian Saucier, a gold amplifier. Again, we only ask $5 a month. He's doing twice that. Certainly appreciate it. amp.freetalklive.com. So the Los Angeles Times claiming in a piece, the Washington Post, they're reprinting it at the Los Angeles Times. So it got a lot of exposure. This piece got major exposure in major media, claiming, quote, "The fact of the matter is that Bitcoin's been around for 10 years now, but we still haven't found one use for it." Well, obviously, you haven't tried real hard, Matt O'Brien, because all you really have to do is go to coinmap.org, and it is a handy little map site that shows you the entire planet at a glance, and you can see these hot spots all over the planet, different colors like red and yellow. And then you zoom in on where you live, or maybe where you're going to go visit on vacation or wherever, and you can see where businesses are actually physically located that you can go and spend cryptocurrency.
There was a lot in Puerto Rico. I was pretty impressed with all those islands I went to. Puerto Rico had pretty active.
The majority of the
on coinmap.org there.
Now you got to be careful. Not everything on CoinMap is up to date.
Right.
So, call them first, make sure they're still in business, make sure they're still accepting crypto. But I'll tell you, here in the Keene area, or in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, those maps are accurate. You go to a place on that map, they're going to take crypto, because we curate them and make sure that if a business goes out of business or for whatever reason isn't taking crypto, we update the map.
Manchester, same thing, pretty accurate.
Well, that's because I actually went through and had them remove a bunch of stuff from Manchester that wasn't. But there's plenty of things that you can do with crypto. And those are just the real-life locations that you can go to and spend cryptocurrency. There's also, of course, online purchases where, like saveatpurse.com, you can go and save easily 20% on a thing that you want to get at Amazon. I've got something sitting on there right now, a new chair for the studio. I put it at 33% because we don't need it that bad. So if it comes this week or if it comes 2 weeks from now or a month from now, it doesn't really matter.
I think using Purse to buy things on Amazon actually makes the whole buying things on Amazon experience a little bit fun.
Yeah?
Because you get to go check it. Oh, I got an email from Purse. Yeah, cool. Went through,
And then you get 30% off or 20%. If you want to get the item quickly, shoot for 20%. Usually it'll get bought within the first several hours. And so, again, saving money on everything you buy. Gee, is that something you can use Bitcoin for or Bitcoin Cash? Why, yes, it is. So let's go on here with this junk article. He says that it was at its most supposed to replace the U.S. dollars, the way people did business around the world. Well, what, do you think that's going to happen in 10 years? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing if Bitcoin could come out and instantly replace the U.S. dollar? We're talking about a decade on the scale of money is nothing. This is nothing. Bitcoin is still in its infancy. It's still in a crib, basically. It's still, Bitcoin software, I think, is still in beta, if I'm not mistaken. If you go to bitcoin.org, I believe they still refer to it as beta software a decade later.
And not only that, the blockchain technology that Bitcoin is based on is in my opinion, is far more valuable than the actual Bitcoin itself. Sure. I mean, that is just... It's great. And
this is the public ledger.
It's going to revolutionize a lot of things. And
distributed public ledger, decentralized public ledger.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Everybody can access this ledger. So when the Securities and Exchange Commission has to start putting everything on blockchain, and all the stock market stuff has to be on blockchain, I think that those institutions that control that in Wall Street doesn't want things on distributed public ledgers.
No, you can't hack those. You can't cook the books.
And yeah, because then they can't do their insider trading. The high frequency algorithm stuff is probably going to change up a lot, and I believe it'll stop manipulation once these Wall Street becomes on a decentralized public ledger, which I think is the big thing that they're looking at. I think the enemy to the power brokers of the world right now isn't actually Bitcoin; it's a technology, blockchain, which is going to open up.
Bitcoin was the first application of blockchain, so that's why it's worth as much as it is. But you're right; that's what makes Bitcoin valuable, because we did have, or part of what makes Bitcoin valuable, because we did have digital currency before that. Right, you had credit cards, you had all kinds of forms of digital currency, but they weren't distributed, decentralized forms of currency, and that's what Bitcoin brought to the table. In addition, it's cryptographically sound and secure, so it can't be hacked, and there's a lot of reasons why it is as popular as it is. But this guy's acting like it's meaningless, acting like nobody uses it for anything, and this is just total fiction. Going on here, why, he asks, has Bitcoin stumbled over even this lowest of bars? Because there's a paradox that lies at its heart. He says, the easiest way to think about this is that Bitcoin wants to make it so that you don't have to trust banks to move your money, or governments keep your currency from losing its value. Well, if you've ever trusted the government with currency, then you know what happens, because every government currency loses value. Government doesn't keep currencies from losing value. It's part of the policy. Inflation is policy.
If you think you can trust the government, ask the Native Americans.
Well, and if you think you could trust the banks, ask either the Cretans or the Greeks, or the Cypriots, I think, maybe where because they had austerity measures and a bunch of debt to the EU at one point.
You mean a few years ago?
Yeah, and the government just takes 25% out of everyone's bank account.
Yeah, they called it a haircut.
It'll grow back.
It's not stealing when the government does it. We're just giving you a haircut.
And the banks just let them do it.
Well, the banks are part of the government, basically. I mean, at least in the United States, it's probably the same way in every country of the world.
Oh, the banks run the government in the United States.
Well, there's that. But if you want to, I mean, the little bank here in town doesn't run the government, right?
Like, no,
they're
but
just
the banksters, as Jay Noon said earlier.
Yeah, but all of the banks, even the smaller banks, are all members of the Federal Reserve. They have to be.
And this little bank has to ask government for an authority to even exist.
That's correct. Otherwise, they're going to send men with guns in there, and they're going to arrest the people operating an illegal bank.
And if this little bank here in Keene, the government instituted haircut here, and they didn't do it, that's exactly what would happen. Men with guns would show up and take down the folks or arrest the folks who were in charge of that.
They would do it. Of course they would do it.
Absolutely.
Bitcoin, he says here, does the first part by setting up a system where instead of paying a middleman that you know to process a transaction, the network pays a group of middlemen that you don't know to do so. That's what he says Bitcoin mining is. Okay, so how many people know the clerk at Western Union? When you go in and you buy a money order, or you buy, some sort of money transmission to another person, how many people actually know the clerks at Western Union or MoneyGram? Unless you happen to live in a small town where everybody knows everybody, odds are good you don't know this person. So these are strangers who have government licenses who are taking your money. And the idea that the Bitcoin miners are somehow tantamount to that, Okay, yeah, there is a mining fee that you pay on every cryptocurrency transaction, but it's usually a very, very, very small amount of money by comparison. If you're going through Western Union or Walmart to Walmart or one of these other systems, the fees are much higher. You might pay $5, whereas with Bitcoin it might be 50 cents. And that's even higher than what most of the cryptos are. With Dash, it might be less than 1 cent. And I'm talking about no matter how large the transaction is, whether it's $1,000 worth or $10 worth, it's probably only going to be, if you're doing Dash or Bitcoin Cash, a cent or two.
So one thing I've always liked about Dash is it just always worked every single time. I never really had to wait, and I was never like, oh, darn, I just spent $4 to send somebody $1.
Yeah,
you know?
That was a problem with Bitcoin for a little while last year, but it's not...
and Bitcoin's been good lately.
It has, but it's probably not as busy as it was last year.
Yeah.
Right? So if it were to get as busy as it was last year, it probably would have the same problem. So again, growing pains, coming back to that concept. But anyway, here, let's go on with the critic. He says that's what Bitcoin mining is. People race to be the first one to update the public ledger of all the Bitcoin transactions, cutting out the need for a bank to verify things, to try to win the new Bitcoin that's given out to whoever hits that mark. All right, that's a fair description. I would say it's a fair kind of general description of what Bitcoin mining is. It's these computer geeks competing to essentially find a block. And the block is that piece that goes onto the blockchain, the term we were talking about before, which is the technology, the public ledger, distributed ledger that backs up Bitcoin. He says, which brings us to the second part, aimed at retaining the cryptocurrency's value. The number of Bitcoins that will ever be created has been strictly limited in advance to preclude any possibility of their value being inflated away. He says, but there's a problem. And we'll get into what he says that is with this critic of Bitcoin coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts welcome. Hour 3's next. This is Free Talk Live.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223 per ounce. Zen is trading at $6, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,767. Antiwar.com reports attacks by U.S.-backed Kurdish forces and counterattacks by the Islamic State in eastern Syria have escalated dramatically since Friday, and in that period of time, over 200 people have been killed. This includes 92 members of the Kurdish forces killed in that period of time. This is the largest number of Kurdish SDF forces killed in a single battle all year, according to officials. 61 the Islamic State members were also reported slain between the fighting and subsequent U.S. airstrikes against the positions of the Islamic State around the towns. But as is often the case, U.S. strikes against populated areas came with a terrible cost to the civilian population. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights estimated that 51 civilians were killed, mostly relatives of the Islamic State fighters. This battle was attributed to foggy weather in the area, which allowed the Islamic State to launch surprise attacks without fear of U.S. air support getting directly involved. The U.S. strikes appeared to center on the towns themselves and trying to allow the Kurds to reverse the Islamic State gains at nearby villages. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports Ohio on Monday became the first state to accept Bitcoin as a tax payment option for businesses. According to the state treasurer's website, the treasurer's office is also working to help make Ohio a national leader in blockchain technology. Some supporters of cryptocurrency applauded the decision, saying it lends legitimacy and may help stabilize the often volatile electronic currency. But others warn that because the value of cryptocurrency is unstable and some argue it can be manipulated through trading schemes, it is too risky for governments to consider it money. John Griffin, a professor of finance at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business, said, "To the extent that Bitcoin is gamed, legitimizing it as a source of currency for the state is a bad idea. Governments have debated whether to treat cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as a legitimate currency or as a commodity that can be traded for money." David Vexler, director of technology at the Foundation for Economic Education, said, "Part of the reason cryptocurrency is so volatile is because nobody knows what will happen to it in the future," adding, "It could fail entirely, it could play a small role in our currencies, or it could have a major role as big as the dollar." Vexler says Ohio's decision to accept Bitcoin as money could help stabilize its value, especially if other states follow Ohio's lead, and he suspects the move will encourage businesses that use cryptocurrencies to relocate to Ohio. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports jury selection began on Monday in the trial of a man accused of killing a woman by driving his car into a crowd of counter-protesters after a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia last year. James Fields Jr. faces 10 criminal counts in Virginia, including first-degree murder and malicious assault. He has pled not guilty to the charges, which could send him to prison for the rest of his life. Fields was among hundreds of white nationalists who converged on the town, home of the University of Virginia, to protest plans to remove a statue of a Confederate war hero from a local park. One of his attorneys, John Hill, told prospective jurors that the defense would present testimony showing the defendant thought he was acting in self-defense. Hill also told them to expect medical and mental health testimony. Federal prosecutors have said that Fields routinely promoted racial ideologies on his social media accounts and expressed support for Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust. On Monday, Fields appeared calm after entering a heavily guarded Charlottesville circuit courtroom. As jury selection began, he frequently turned towards the audience in the courtroom. Circuit Court Judge Richard E. Moore told a large group of prospective jurors that the trial could last up to 3 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 17, 1980, Ronald Reagan accepted the nomination for president at the Republican National Convention in Detroit and delivered a speech in which he boldly promised that during his presidency, someone would body slam Andre the Giant. While admitting that the road would be long and hard, and that it might take as long as 7 years and 2 WrestleManias to get there. The former California governor vowed that under his administration, somebody, perhaps Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or a hulked-up Hulk Hogan, would grab hold of the 500-pound behemoth and send his massive body smashing to the mat. The Republican nominee also went on to promise that by the end of his first term, Joni would marry Chachi, hair metal would achieve mainstream airplay, and Shelley Long would successfully make the leap from television to film.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. We'll take your calls about whatever you want to discuss with us here in the studio with you. It's me, Ian.
Jay.
And Vincent.
I haven't mentioned this yet tonight, Vincent, but we are doing our Free Talk Live after show.
So I was wondering.
This evening. We did one for the first time last week on Tuesday night. And it's Twitch only, which means that it will be free of FCC censors. There will be no FCC censorship, which means that if you want to say something nasty, then call into the after show because you can do that. We can't tolerate it here on the actual radio show. But it'll be Twitch only as well, which means that we won't have any radio stations airing the program, so we don't have to worry about hurting somebody's feelings who's a program director or an advertiser or something like that. And it's Twitch only, so we'll get to pay more attention to the Twitch chat room and the things that are going on there. So that'll be tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time as soon as we're done here.
So I got a question. When I go on Free Talk Live, and I download the show
from the website, freetalklive.com,
from the website, because I want to listen to it when I'm traveling through no man's land, New Hampshire. Right. Will that episode include the after show?
No. At this time, we're doing Twitch exclusive. So the idea is to draw people to the Twitch channel.
Okay.
People who maybe haven't tried it out yet, haven't tried to watch us on there or listen to us there. You can stream live audio. You don't have to watch the video through Twitch. So if you're out and about, so you can play it back later on, but it's not a downloadable MP3 as of yet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe eventually we can talk about doing an audio version of that show, but I wanted people to have an excuse to come check out Twitch.
A lot of times, if I'm not able to listen to Free Talk Live, I generally download it, and then when I'm driving around, I listen to it in the morning or whatever.
That's the way most people do it. I mean, most people don't do live listening because they don't have to, because podcast allows you to download and listen whenever it is that you want to. So, we wanted to encourage live interaction and make it so people could say things without fear of FCC censorship. So that's going to happen tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on twitch.lrn.fm. If you don't have the app yet, you might want to get it because it makes watching and interacting a lot easier. So if you're just tuning in, we were talking about this story from the Washington Post. Matt O'Brien, the very woefully uninformed to the point of dangerously ignorant on cryptocurrency, maybe purposefully misinforming, maybe actually telling lies, I don't know. But to actually say that after 10 years, they still haven't found a use for Bitcoin is obviously false and laughably ridiculous, which makes me wonder what else it is he's going to say here. So he says the second part of his critique, aimed at retaining the cryptocurrency's value, the total number of Bitcoins that will ever be created has been strictly limited in advance to preclude any possibility of their value being inflated away. But there's a problem, he claims. The reason Bitcoin miners are willing to do the very real work of processing transactions is that they think the Bitcoin they're getting paid with will keep rising in value. And what would make them do that? Well, the finite supply certainly helps. There are only supposed to be 21 million Bitcoins that are ever mined. But at some point, there has to be more demand for them too, which means that people have to actually start using them. Well, again, I got news for you. People are using Bitcoins all over the place. Just because you're not aware of it means you haven't bothered to actually do an internet search.
Sounds like the wrong guy to write an article about Bitcoin to me.
Well, unless he's the right guy, because you want to write an anti-Bitcoin article that's full of ignorant misinformation that you want to then get syndicated on the major newspapers in the United States. This was in the Post, the LA Times, and who knows what other papers took it.
And who are the advertisers and the big money funders for those media outlets?
Probably banks.
Right. They don't like Bitcoin.
But why would people use their Bitcoins, he says, when, just as we said, they think the price is only going to go up? They wouldn't. They'd just hold on to their Bitcoin as an investment and use their dollars for day-to-day purchases, which, of course, is more or less what has happened. And I'm going to give him that one. Okay, that's the only legitimate critique he's actually had so far. That is a problem. That people that you were talking about this earlier, Jay, that you have customers who have paid you with Bitcoin in the past, so you know they can and you know they have, but they've stopped.
Right.
And that's a problem because it's a problem with a lot of the people in the world of Bitcoin is that they believe in just holding on to the Bitcoin.
If everybody holds it, it'd be worth nothing. If there was no
Correct.
transactions going on, it would go down.
Right. Now, that's not to say you should spend all of your Bitcoin. You can hold and spend Bitcoin. You can do both.
That's what I try to tell people every day.
And one of the ways you can do that is by buying the Bitcoin that you spend, buying it back, meaning that if I'm going to hire you to do, you said you do snow removal. So if I hire you to do snow removal and I have X amount of Bitcoin in my Bitcoin wallet, well, whenever I spend whatever the amount is you're charging me to do, to do the snow removal, I then repurchase that same amount of Bitcoin that I've just spent. So therefore, my Bitcoin reserves do not go down, even though I've just spent it with you. Now, to some extent, that does require more effort, right? And, I'm an activist, so I'm willing to put the effort into that. Many of us are willing to put that effort in, the effort of actually acquiring more Bitcoin. There are ways that you can do it to make it kind of an automated process. So without getting too technically detailed, because you do have to jump through a few hoops to make this possible. But I have a system set up where whenever I spend out of my personal Bitcoin wallet, there's a little website called Reload. It's reload.bitnik.eu, BITNIK. And they monitor my wallet. Because, again, it's a public ledger. So if you know what my wallet address is, you can take a look and see how much Bitcoin's in it. You can watch and see when I spend Bitcoin out of that wallet and to which other wallet it goes to. So this little script watches the wallet, and whenever it sees Bitcoin leave the wallet, it's got my crypto exchange information in the back end of this system, and it just places an order on the exchange.
Nice.
So I have dollars sitting on this exchange just waiting. Okay, so that's sort of loaded with dollars. And then when I spend Bitcoin, it just goes ahead and places an order, and then those dollars turn into Bitcoin again. And then I take the Bitcoin from the exchange, put it into my wallet. So I've taken some of the steps out of the sort of the reloading process, but I still have to do some of the
Are those
steps.
guys an advertiser?
No, but it's a great service.
Sounds like it.
The problem is you also have to have a cryptocurrency exchange account that takes dollars. And not everybody has that.
And then a bank account, which I don't have.
Right. So you would need a bank account to send wire transfers to a Bitcoin exchange. And so there's some process involved in getting this started up. Maybe there are other ways to do this, Jay. I mean, there's all these, really cool Bitcoin related services out there that I don't even know about.
It's getting easier and easier every day.
Yeah. In fact, some places will let you order Bitcoin with credit cards. So it's definitely getting easier. So, but his critique is correct here in this particular case. It is a problem for Bitcoin people not spending their cryptocurrency. I'll give him that one. But that's not to say that everybody's holding. Obviously, they're not. If you can go right now and look at the Bitcoin transactions and see that every second there's a bunch of Bitcoin transactions going around the whole country or the whole planet. So he goes on here and he says, indeed, the total number of Bitcoin transactions hasn't increased at all in the last 2 years. Huh? What? Jeez. What is that supposed to even mean? It hasn't increased at all. That's ridiculous and it's nonsense.
Does he cite anything?
No.
No, it just says it.
No.
Where do you get that information from?
There's no citation whatsoever, and it's obviously fake because I've sent Bitcoin transactions in the last 2 years, so therefore there's more Bitcoin transactions in the last 2 years.
And is he just the author? Is he just a columnist, or does he have any sort of credential?
I don't know. You can look him up. His name is Matt O'Brien. O''Brien. So going on here, he claims, so people mine Bitcoin because they think mainstream adoption will make the price go up a lot more. But the fact that it's going up as much as it is means that it's not going to get adopted by anyone but the most fervent believers. It's getting hoarded instead. This in turn creates a natural boom-bust cycle that's been amplified by what a few academics say looks like repeated price manipulation. Well, again, that's all speculation. We don't know why the price does what it does.
This guy looks like such a pencil neck soy boy.
The result is that since the end of last year, Bitcoin has been massively outperformed by the euro. Since the end of last year. Right. So if you ignore the entire decade of history of Bitcoin and you just look at the last year, then he's claiming the euro has done better than Bitcoin. That's if you ignore everything that came before December of 2017. Like the supermajority of the history of Bitcoin. So there's a little bit more here. Again, ridiculous Bitcoin hate piece in the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times, and probably more than that. Toll-free number here, 855-450, free like freedom. Unfortunately, some people are going to read this and they're going to believe it. It's Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere, from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. Get your Blink camera system starting at less than $100 by visiting blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and join us right here. The number for you is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the rent. Is it going up? According to some numbers, Vincent says not only is rent going up, but you're getting less for what you're paying. What are the reasons for that? Is it just straight up inflation, or are there other factors at work? We can get into that. We're talking about money tonight, specifically the world of Bitcoin, which some critic over at the Washington Post, who you describe as a soy boy, Vincent.
Pencil neck soy boy.
Matt O'Brien. Now, soy boys are males who have eaten too much soy, right?
Effeminate males, yes.
But the idea is the soy makes them into effeminate males?
Usually the culprit is soy. It also could be like BPA and plastic linings inside certain food products that work as estrogen mimickers. Yeah, I mean, I just took a look at the guy, and he just has like the look of a Poindexter. I know it's important not to judge judge books by their cover, but this guy is posting. Well,
we're judging his words here.
Yeah, he's have all these lies and false truths, and he's just trying to deceive people. I mean, he's got an agenda. Yeah, he's got to know. He can't be that ignorant. So
how could you make the claim that there's nobody spending Bitcoin? I mean, it's just so demonstrably false. There are a bunch of really cool. You ever seen any of those Bitcoin visualizers?
Oh, sometimes
on the internet. There's a bunch of cool ones. There's one that shows dropping balls that are of different sizes, and so it uses like your 3D graphics card, and it's really a cool one. There's I'm trying to think of what some of the other ones are. There's the one Fiat Leak, where it shows all of the purchases that are going from fiat currencies into Bitcoins and which countries of the world they're coming from.
That's cool.
Sort of in real time.
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah. So just search for like graphical Bitcoin visualizer or Bitcoin visualizers, and you can see, because again, it's a public blockchain. You can see all of the action as it's going on. They're really, really cool. So the dude is full of it, but his main point is to try to claim that Bitcoin is a terrible investment, that it has lost in the last year 80% of its value. Not untrue if you just look at the last year.
He compares it to Venezuelan currency.
Correct. He says Venezuela is the only country in the world that has done worse with its currency than Bitcoin, and
which is like comparing apples to oranges. I mean,
it's like comparing an orange to a rotten apple.
Well, right.
Yeah.
First of all, that's true. It's apples to oranges. But secondly, even if it weren't, he's only looking at the last year. And if you look at the last decade, then Bitcoin is up significantly. Because remember, the first Bitcoin purchase was 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. So, you do the math. That's a fraction of, cent for, whatever it is per Bitcoin.
Did that happen in Keene by any chance? No, it didn't?
No, that would have been awesome. It was, as I understand it, an online purchase. So it wasn't even whoever it was that actually bought the pizzas wasn't even in the town in which the person who received the pizzas.
Oh, okay.
So somebody gave Bitcoin online to somebody, and then that person who received the 10,000 Bitcoins placed a phone call to a local pizza shop, used their credit card to then pay for the pizzas, and got 10,000 Bitcoins. So, I mean, if you want to look at the numbers there, you're talking about what, $20 divided by $10,000 per Bitcoin. Yeah, that's less than a cent. That's 2/10 of a cent per Bitcoin. So that's your first Bitcoin price. Now you do the math from 2/10 of a cent to $3,500 where it currently is today. That's a huge percentage increase. Again, I'm not ignoring the last year. I'm including the last year in looking at the full 10 years of Bitcoin.
That's like the price of Tron or Dogecoin right now, right?
Yeah, that is basically the price of Dogecoin right now, from what I understand. Actually, Doge is probably down too. All the cryptos are down this last few weeks. So he goes on. He says the result is that since the end of last year, Bitcoin has been massively outperformed by the euro, despite the fact that Europe's central bank has been printing money that whole time. Badly outperformed by the Turkish lira, despite the fact that the country's central bank has been forced to keep interest rates inappropriately low by the regime, and has only modestly outperformed the Venezuelan bolivar, despite the fact that the Venezuelan central bank has been irresponsible on the kind of world historical level that we haven't seen since Yugoslavia in the 90s or Zimbabwe in the early 2000s. That's true. It's a true statement about Venezuela. I mean, it is an absolute mess, and the hyperinflation's insane. But he's just straight up being very dishonest with his portrayal of Bitcoin. He finally says, now losing a little less value than the worthless currency of a bankrupt government run by an economically illiterate drug cartel has Venezuela's ruling class has also gotten into the cocaine trade, he alleges, might not seem like much of an accomplishment. That's because it isn't. It's something that everyone, even countries like Turkey that are undergoing currency crises of their own, have managed to do. And at the very least, Bitcoin has too. So maybe some sort of congratulations are in order. Bitcoin is a better store of value than the worst store of value that there is. Pretty brutal. Very unfair. And that's fine. Look, if Bitcoin's price goes down, all it is a buying opportunity. Ain't nobody out there buying the Venezuelan bolivar, and nobody out there is buying the Turkish lira, and nobody out there is interested in buying these state currencies unless you go to the country and you have to buy them, right? What people that you know actually spend time buying and trading government monies? They exist. People like that do exist in the world.
I've never met one in my life.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of crypto traders.
Right. It's just a crapshoot. I mean, it's a crapshoot on crypto.
Yep.
But it's harder to get into buying the foreign currencies. Where do you go to begin? I have no idea. What, do you go to the bank? Do you go to some sort of currency exchange?
Sometimes you go to a bank, like if you want to get like Canadian dollar bills. If they have to order, they have to order it. So like if let's say I want to go to Bank America in Keene, we're going to have to order physical Canadian paper money to come
And how
in.
long does that take to get to you?
I think,
a week? 2 weeks? Something like
Expensive.
that?
I used to buy a lot of Canadian money, and after I used to buy it on the Canadian side of the border when I go up there and buy hay.
Yep.
And so I found a guy one day, he was buying American money, and I was like, dude, let's just do this outside in the parking lot. And that's how I started doing it after that, because we would just swap even.
Avoid the fees.
Because I paid like 7.5 and he paid like 10, or vice versa. So like basically the bank was making like 25 cents or 22 cents off each dollar that we traded.
That's insane.
Oh, yeah.
20%?
Between the two transactions. Right. I think I paid.
So 10 on one side, 10 on the other, basically?
Sometimes. It was never the same. Every time I go to the same bank, it was always like a
different rates.
Different rate. And you know, but I guess it was based on market fluctuation and which way currencies were going is what they told me. So.
Right. And okay, so yeah, you can get a Canadian currency after you wait a week and pay 10%. You might be able to get some Canadian currency. What if I want to get a currency from a country that's not immediately adjacent to me? What if I want to get, a Russian ruble?
No, you'll probably get arrested for asking.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, the idea of trading these where do you get a euro from? Is that something you just walk into the bank and order that too? Maybe, but talk about the time you've got to spend. Talk about the effort that you've got to put into that. And again, it's all speculative there anyway. You don't know whether the euro is going to rise against the dollar or the Canadian dollar is going to fall against the Mexican dollar or whatever. You have no idea.
They do have currency exchanges in the airport. I saw one.
That's correct.
Atlanta airport. I was there last week.
And I imagine you can get a few different currencies there.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of them listed.
Right.
And I wanted to go talk to them about Bitcoin, but my wife's like, let's go.
Some people do
you're not going to get anywhere with that one.
Some people do engage in currency speculation. Like I think George Soros became famous in like the 90s because he crashed the London pound or the British pound.
Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE, whether it's crypto or the rent. We're going to get into rent prices. And Vincent, you've got some sort of information about that on the way here. You can, of course, take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever is on your mind at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not,
Can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free Talk Live.
Wait till you hear the least popular girl's name for 2004. We'll start with Rack. Rack. Crumpet.
Well, Crumpet's kind of funny.
Someone named their little girl Willie. Cannelloni. Cannelloni. Lasagna. Tasty. And Biff. Yeah, Biff. The
These
least
are girls'
popular name.
names?
the least popular name.
These
of
are all made up,
2004.
folks.
I
Do
don't
not
care.
believe this nonsense. This is not news.
I don't care. I haven't laughed this much all week. This may be my favorite. Rumpy Pumpy. Now, how could you think that one up? I mean, if you were faking this list, I could understand that you could fake Donald Duck or Scrooge or pork. But how do you think of Rumpy Pumpy? Rumpy Pumpy. R-U-M-P-E-P-U-M-P-E-E. Rumpy Pumpy.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free and join us here on the radio if you want. And the number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom with you tonight. It's Ian.
Jay.
And Vincent.
855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm. What's Discord? It's our chat server. It's there around the clock, before, during, and after Free Talk Live. You can go there and join some of the co-hosts of the show. I know, Vincent, you're in there fairly often. I'm in there pretty much every single day. And then there's listeners that you might be familiar with, like Gene the Christian Anarchist. He's there a lot. A lot of our callers, they hang out in the chat room and chat with one another. And there's also voice chats where sometimes people will participate. Usually it's the text chat where you'll find most folks, but it's all free. So get on over there to discord.lrn.fm. Something else that's free is the Tom Woods Show podcast. Tom Woods, of course, a lot of libertarians got to know him during the Ron Paul campaigns of 2008 and 2012. He's a New York Times bestselling author and has written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. He's been doing his own show since September of 2013. Over 1,200 episodes exist so far. Lots of great topics that libertarians will enjoy, and guests, including folks like Ron Paul and Judge Andrew Napolitano and more. Go to tomwoods.com or search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. So, Vincent, let's change gears here a little bit. We're still talking kind of money-related stuff. We covered a lot of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin critique, Bitcoin-related news here tonight. But you wanted to talk about something more people have in common, paying the rent.
Yep, everyone needs a place to live. So we have here from CNBC, apartments are getting smaller, but renters are paying more. Apartments are getting smaller in much of the U.S., even as rents are rising. The average size of a newly built apartment in 2018 is 941 square feet, which is 5% smaller than it was a decade ago. For studio apartments, the change is more pronounced. They're 10% smaller. Rents, on the other hand, have jumped 28% during the same time period, according to RentCaf, a nationwide apartment searching website.
Now, it's interesting because, we've seen this happen in the world of the grocery store, right? Where I was in the grocery store just recently, I noticed it just didn't seem like the orange juice container was quite as wide as it had used to have been, and I looked at the amount of ounces on it, and it was a 52-ounce container.
48-ounce.
Down from 64.
48-ounce containers of ice cream. No more 64. No more half-gallons ice cream.
Yeah. They've been cutting that for years. Yogurt used to be 8-ounce. Now you can't find one that's more than 5.2.
At Chili's Bars and Grills, it used to be a 2 for $20 deal. Now it's 2 for $25.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation.
Yeah, inflation, I think, is the primary culprit of this, which is, again, the government increasing the money supply, printing out more money, and therefore prices tend to go up as a result.
But Ian, I learned in school that inflation is good for the economy.
It's definitely not good. But go on with the story.
Changes in renters' living habits are literally redrawing floor plans, wrote Nadia Balinta, a senior marketing writer for RentCaf. The largest share of apartment dwellers, millennials, prefer living in locations close to restaurants and entertainment rather than having a large kitchen or living room to cook or entertain at home. Higher rental costs today, however, have millennials looking for savings by renting smaller units, and developers are clearly responding. Micro units are becoming more popular, following on the tiny house trend, as millennials tend to be more environmentally conscious than previous generations. So I guess they're calling austerity environmental consciousness now.
Well, if I were going to look, I don't blame somebody for wanting to be in a tiny house. It keeps things simple. I like the idea of the small houses just because I don't want to clean a big house. You don't have as much stuff. You don't have to worry about as many things going wrong. Things that break, there are a few of them to break if the place is smaller. So, I get it. I can understand why people would want that.
Well, but not only are they paying off another guy's mortgage, they're also paying more for less.
Oh, no, I was just talking about living in a tiny home. Now you're talking about the idea of renting versus owning.
Apartment developers are supplementing the smaller units by adding more common spaces to their buildings in which residents can both work and entertain. So basically, apartments are turning into dorms now.
Yeah, why would you want to go outside of your apartment to work? You're just going to get distracted.
And that's been a big thing in China for years. Just
common space areas?
Style living. Yeah, China, Korea, in the cities where, people are basically all living in dorms.
Now, you've actually, for your first time, Vincent, have moved out of the dorms. Yes. You were living in a dorm at the Keene State College here in Keene. This is your first year in college where you are no longer in the dorms, and you've moved into a real apartment.
Yeah, and it's higher than it's really high. I'd say the rent in terms of what you get or into town. I mean, I like it. I like the place.
In the dorm? Can you even calculate it? Is there even a way to know what dorm living costs?
Well, yes, there is a way, but they add a bunch of fees to it. So one, there's the cost of living, then you have to buy a meal plan if you're living on campus.
Right.
Then you have to pay for the damages of the entire building. So the entire building...
So if some drunk fool destroys something, they charge everybody.
Oh, absolutely. If someone tears a poster off, that's like a $10 vandalism charge. So let's say there's 170 people living in a dorm.
So they ding you.
Yeah, and so that might not sound that much, but if someone vomits, that's like $100 charge to clean up.
Send somebody to clean it up. Charge everybody.
And it happens every weekend. At some points, every weekday or every weeknight now. And it just adds up into the point where, and you can't dispute it. You can't dispute any of it.
Sounds like a good way to create a snitch society.
For sure.
And and so I'm I'm paying for the apartment I'm living in. I'm paying pretty much the same as it would be if I lived in a subpar dorm on campus.
But you have more space and you don't
privacy.
Have a roommate.
And I have privacy. I have more space, and I don't have to worry about these babysitter RAs giving me a hard time.
How are the neighbors compared to the college kids, like your neighbors in the apartments?
Oh,
are they quiet?
Oh yeah. For the most part, yeah. I've had no problems. Like back in when I lived in a dorm, you'd have drunks coming in screaming and crying at like 2 a.m. It was insane. And like people would just play music on speakers so that like you could hear the walls vibrate. It was people would vomit and it was terrible.
Oh, and then the shared bathrooms too.
Shared bathrooms. People would smoke cannabis in the halls, and not very good cannabis anyways, and it would just stink up the entire place. It was awful. It was 2 years of hell.
So you've moved up in the world,
yes,
then, basically,
absolutely,
by moving to the apartments that you're in. Yeah. All right, sorry, go ahead with this. So they're saying they're cutting down the size of the new apartments. The one you're in is like, I don't know, probably 100 years old.
Yeah, it is old.
But they're cutting down new construction and coming up with new ideas for using the space. Go ahead.
Across our 72,000-unit portfolio, we have seen an increasing demand for relatively smaller units, said Toby Bizzuto, CEO of apartment developer the Bizzuto Group. We attribute this to a lifestyle shift that is based on our residents' desire to be less encumbered by things.
Okay.
Our residents value flexibility and convenience and appreciate a thoughtful approach to unit design. Despite an apartment construction boom in the last several years, occupancy remains high and rents are still gaining. Yet rents are rising fastest for those who can afford it the least. Rents for low-end properties, defined as those with rents less than 75% of regional median, are growing faster than luxury rentals, according to CoreLogic. We've seen a slight uptick in rent prices over the past few months as strong employment growth continues, said Molly Buzzell, principal economist.
Now, they're looking at the whole United States?
It
basically?
appears so, yes.
Okay.
The strength stems from the low to middle price tier, which has seen monthly average growth of 3.2% since January 2018. All real estate is local, and so are size trends, apparently. Overall, including old and new apartments, the Southeast has had the largest units in the nation, while California has the smallest.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's got to be differences regionally and even city by city. So it's hard to make a statement, I think, generally about all of the United States. Because, I mean, if you go to a place like Detroit, where you can buy a house for $1, I suspect the rents there are pretty low.
And these heavily socialist areas like California, so many people are moving out of there to like Texas. I mentioned Seattle. It's just all these centrally planned big government, just worse state worshiping, which is most of the U.S., but I'm talking about the really bad areas.
Well,
That's where people are leaving, and they have a list of places where people are leaving.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Seattle because we talked about that previously on Free Talk Live. I think it might have been Jackie who was talking about that the other night because she's from up that way. In Seattle, you got a situation where they are not allowing a lot of construction to even happen. And you've got companies like Amazon and other companies that are, that want to move in there and they want to hire a bunch of people, but there's no housing for the people that they want to hire. So you either have to commute long distances to get into the city or pay way too much for one of the limited construction options that they have in the city. So in a lot of cases, it's government regulation that's driving these prices up too.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Hearing a lot about CBD these days? Yes, but which CBD products can you trust? Which website can provide proper education about CBD along with high-quality products? The answer? CBDonly.com. CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of hundreds of compounds found in the cannabis plant and one that contains a variety of medicinal benefits. Many doctors are starting to recommend CBD to their patients as an alternative or supplement to some pharmaceutical medications. CBD is becoming widely known to relieve pain, inflammation, and anxiety. Unlike THC that is found in the plant, CBD CBD does not have psychoactive effects. In other words, it does not give the effect of being high. All CBDonly.com products are lab tested to ensure the highest quality standards. Shop CBDonly.com for CBD oils, edibles, vapes, skincare, even CBD for your pets. That's CBDonly.com. And to receive 15% off your order on CBDonly.com, use discount code CBDNOW. Remember, shop for CBD products you can trust. Shop CBDonly.com, your CBD superstore.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Moments remain here on this radio edition of Free Talk Live. But coming up on our Twitch feed at twitch.lrn.fm at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, we will have what we're now calling Freer Talk Live because, well, we won't be encumbered by pesky FCC regulations and advertiser concerns. So, Jay, you didn't know it was happening tonight. You're welcome to stick around for it if you want to. It's up to you.
I'll hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So we just kind of wing it with that show. So check it out at twitch.lrn.fm if you want to join us there. And also, big thanks to Chris R., who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier, meaning he gives $5 a month to Free Talk Live via the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And that is a way that you can get behind what we do here on Free Talk Live. If you like the things that we talk about, we're talking about inflation right now and the cost of housing and how the government is basically creating these situations where things get more expensive and you get less for what you're paying more for. That's what's happening in housing. It's not just housing. It's also happening in a lot of different areas, and it tends to be one of the effects of inflation, but also regulations we were just about to touch on there. So thanks to Chris for supporting the show and all the other Free Talk Live amplifiers. You can become an amplifier with PayPal, with credit card, with Bitcoin BTC. Just go to amp.freetalklive.com. You get perks like access to the AMP-only podcast. There's special supporters rooms on our Discord chat rooms that you can get access to. There's the AMP-only Facebook group and more. Just go to ampamp.freetalklive.com. So, Vincent, you were continuing to tell us that... Where was the story from again? I'm sorry.
It was from CNBC.
CNBC reporting on the numbers, which are showing that across the United States, apartments are getting smaller. New construction of apartments getting smaller. Obviously not going to spend the money to tear down a wall in an existing apartment and then try to reorder an existing building. That would probably be too cost prohibitive. But when you're building new, you got to decide, how big do these units need to really be? And they figure they can just whittle them down and charge a little bit more for them, fit a few extra families or a few extra people into the same space and make more money.
Or when you got a big old house in Manchester and it mysteriously burns, and it was a 3-family, and then you put up like a 7-family unit on the same footprint, it's all redone, and they're all brand new apartments, or they take these mill buildings and they make these studios in them. Those things are stupid expensive. They're like $1,800 a month, and they're like
for a studio apartment.
Yeah, the millsapartments.com or something is what they are, and it's like, whoa.
And it's not for families, Ian. For this, they talked about millennials. It's for miserable single people.
Oh, I see. Right. Well, a studio. Yeah, you couldn't put a family in a studio.
Not easily. California saw the biggest size decrease for newly built apartments, an average decline of 12% over the past decade. The Pacific Northwest, as well as
12% of square footage cut down, I presume.
Size. It just says size.
Yeah,
so
size. Okay.
The Pacific Northwest, as well as the Northeast, are next, seeing 10% decreases. Only in the Midwest, where rents and demand are lowest, are apartment sizes increasing up to 1% in that time. Of the nation's largest cities, Seattle has the smallest apartment units with an average of 711 square feet. Manhattan and Chicago are second and third smallest. Tallahassee, Florida, boasts the largest units on average at 1,038 square feet. Marietta, Georgia, and Columbia, South Carolina.
We don't need the whole list.
While all types of floor plans are shrinking, new studio apartments are minimizing, most at an average of just 514 square feet this year. Studios also represent a shrinking share of the rental market, just 5% of all units nationwide. One bedroom.
Now, studio is what you've got, right? Where it's the kitchen. There's the only thing that's separate in your apartment is the bathroom.
Yes.
Everything else is kind of in the same space, basically.
Yeah, and it's, as for just a single college student, that's all I need.
Yeah.
One bedrooms lead at 43% of a market, but their size is down 4% over the last decade. 2-bedroom apartments have not changed much, just
okay. I think we get that. I think we get the
point.
point.
And then the article is.
Was there any analysis there as to why this is beyond, our own speculation about it? Inflation / government regulations?
No, and based on the quote they have from, I think the CEO talking about how wonderful it is. It's environmentally friendly. It's for all these millennials. I think this is like a puff piece saying like, hey, folks, hey, slaves, hey, sheeple, get used to it.
Well, I think to some extent it's also, it doesn't come right out and say it, but I think the underlying message is these are these bad corporations. They're cutting down the size of the apartments. It's these evil, businessmen that are doing this. And if indeed they are responding to consumer demand, then that's one thing. That's the suggestion there in the article is that, well, the millennials want different things, so we're cutting down the size. We're adding these, we got a gym now that they can go to, the laundry room separate, and all this stuff. But I've really got to say, I think inflation's a big factor here. I think the fact that
and property tax,
student debt, right? People can't buy a house if they have like $100,000 looming over their heads in college loans.
But still, presumably you would want to cut your rent down if you have debt, right? Rents are going up.
Yeah, well, yeah, that. They can't control that. I'm just saying that they need a place to rent. Whether or not they have student loan debt or not, they need a place to rent. These places are getting smaller. They're going to be forced to buy it or share or something. But they just can't. They have no other option.
Well, there's always another option for somebody who's creative, right? There was that story about the Google employee who was living in his van in the parking lot, basically. Did you hear about that?
There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
Yeah, so the idea was, you're not really spending a whole lot of time doing anything important at your house. The idea was if you're spending $1,000 a month or $700 or whatever it is on a studio apartment, that if you could live in a van, now in a place like New Hampshire, it's going to get cold. You probably can't live in a van. But in a place like California, where this guy was, Silicon Valley, is plenty warm there, right? So, year round, you're probably fine. So he's living in his car or van or whatever it was, and going and taking a shower over at the Planet Fitness or something, right? So he had a gym membership for $20 a month, which gives you full access to showering facilities, so you can stay clean. And then obviously you can't do any food preparation, so you can't save money on food. But if you're not spending $700 a month on an apartment, that's more money that you can spend on
And if
food.
you're working for Google at some big office place, they probably have a pretty nice cafeteria there.
Yeah, at most of those campuses, as they call them, which I find just a silly word for a place to work. but usually they cover your food there.
Oh yeah, my dad, back when he worked for a big company, he went to one of those campuses where it's basically like a warehouse, and they have like trailers, and they have like video games and beanbag chairs and all sorts of kid stuff like ball pits.
This was when your dad was working? When was this?
It wasn't a company he was working for, but a client of his. He went to their.
Was this recent?
A few years ago.
Yeah, because I was going to say this whole ball pit,
Play-Doh.
lame-o, play zone thing. It seems to be a more recent development, like within the last decade and a half, 2 decades.
Right?
It
was a few years ago.
Didn't that start with the tech bubble back in the day?
I imagine, because I remember
boom.
I remember a Simpsons episode back in probably sometime like the late aughts where there was like a somehow I think it was the Angry Dad or something. They had like a web series idea, and they have a tech startup, and it's all these cool things like people going around on pogo sticks, and that's when I first saw it. And then like I guess it's like reality. They made a joke about reality, and then like within a day their shares go to zero, and then they have like tear all the copper wiring out of a wall. But the corporate culture is not what it used to be.
And a lot of reason that the housing market is so scarce is because you have these lobbyist organizations like the New Hampshire Realtors Association, who actually goes into the state house and lobbies for legislation that like you can't have a 4-season campground, or there has to be, it has to be like, so for example, like when I was looking for property a while ago, I'd see these properties. Oh, this place is like $20,000. What is this? Because I'd love to buy a house that's like, trashed, really cheap. Fix it up. So I'm like, oh, it's an actual double wide, and it's on a campground, but you can't be there from, November 31st to, January 31st. The power, the water's getting cut off to the whole thing, and
because of the government,
because of the regulations that it is, you can go there and like work on things, but you have to be out of there by like 5 o'clock.
Wow.
And you can come in there at like 8. It's like you're not allowed there these couple months, and that's and also,
you're saying they're controlling the amount of properties basically by doing that.
Why can't my uncle come plug his camper in my backyard? For example, and just live in his camper, and he's got my uncle lives in a camper, and he's up here in the Northeast for a couple months, and he goes for a part of the year, and goes to Florida for the rest of the year because they got seasonal campgrounds in Florida.
Well, I mean, if I were to answer that as the statist, I would say, well, it's because it's blight. It looks bad. We don't want your uncle around in his camper. He needs to go get a house like the rest of us people.
Well, how could he be safe in that camper? We don't want him freezing to death. He shouldn't be out
it's for his own good.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's another one.
When I've seen these like, little crappy shacks in like St. Martin or St. Kitts and these little poor places and these cars, I was like, hey, people on the tour, I go, that's freedom right there. The code enforcement isn't harassing those guys.
Yeah, do they have code enforcement there at all? So out of time for the radio version of Free Talk Live. You can get more anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. If you want to hear more from us tonight, go to twitch.lrn.fm, where we'll be starting up here in just a few minutes with the Free Talk Live after show. No FCC censorship. Twitch.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of you.
Silver is trading at $14.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223.